Thanks, Mike. The largest outdoor cocktail party in the world has left the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville and returned to the home of the Gators after 63 years. 6 decades ago, it was 1931 when the two last squared off in Gainesville, a time when Hoover grappled with the Depression. Capone went to jail, and the Babe led in homers one last time. Time raced on, and the rivalry grew in intensity. Great games, great players, great effort that won Heisman's like number 11, a kid named Spurrier, who electrified fans. Georgia has had its moments, too, like 1980 when a national championship hinged on a 3rd and 7 play. The excitement, anticipation, and festivity of a rivalry that stands as one of the most rambunctious in all of college football. A tough ticket, but hang with us as we enter the swamp for the border war. Ron Franklin along with Mike Gottfried, and welcome once again to CFA Primetime here on ESPN. Yep, it filled to capacity. It doesn't matter how much rain or bad weather you have. These folks are going to come out to see this ball game. Mike, Florida had the week off after losing to Auburn. What did they do to themselves as far as the national picture is concerned? Are they out of it? They still have a shot.
I think they have a glimmer of hope, Ron, but it's going to be tough for them to catch Penn State and Nebraska and Auburn, Alabama, and those type of teams. They do have the extra game in the SEC championship, which will help them, but it's a small glimmer.
Even with a wet field tonight, you got two extremely high-powered offenses. Let's compare them as far as Eric Zier at Georgia, and of course we all know what Florida can do.
I think Georgia really has the better quarterback, and I think their receivers are as good as the Florida receivers, but that's where it stops. They don't have nearly the running game, nor their defense is not as sound as Florida's defense.
Well, for the last hour and a half, rather than talking football, most everybody's been talking about the weather. Let's go down to the field, and Mike Adamle will bring us up to date on exactly how severe things have been hit.
Well, Ron and Mike, considering the amount of rain that Gainesville has gotten in the last hour and a half, the field in surprisingly good shape. The only precarious places as far as footing concerned along the sidelines and in the corner of the end zones. Who will respond the best? Well, I'm not sure about Florida, but last year in Jacksonville, under similar conditions, all Eric Zier did was pass for 386 yards in 65 attempts and nearly won the game for Georgia. I'll tell you one thing, though, field is still a little wet, and maybe the most valuable players of today's games, the team managers, whose responsibility keeping the pigskin dry.
73 degrees and, of course, humidity at 100%. And now they're saying that the rain is expected to clear up, and that would indeed be good news for 85,000 people who have journeyed here to see this football game. The head coaches, well, Ray Goff, he's lost the last 4 meetings against Florida. Last year came so very close to pulling off a huge upset up in Jacksonville. And in Spurrier's case, 15-1 against SEC teams at the Swamp. He's undefeated against Georgia. As you look at him, the hairdos are not the same as when they left the fraternity house or the hotel this afternoon, but they're out here to see their stars like Jack Jackson and see the Gators and the Dogs get ready to tee it up again. Cannon Parkin will kick it off.
And Ron, Riddell Anthony back deep here is really a threat along with Jack Jackson. Their special teams have been excellent for Florida.
Parkman moving forward, and the 94 meeting of the world's largest outdoor cocktail party is underway. Jack Jackson from the goal line. In the vicinity of the 40. So let's take a look at the starting lineups. Brought to you by Russell Athletic. For Florida, Danny Werfel. He started this game last year. It was one of his 7 starts. And may not throw quite as well as Terry Dean, but he just seems to make plays. The wide receivers. How about the situation with Aubrey Hill? He's been given a clearance to play on Thursday. He was being given blood to clean his platelets. They were taking it out of one arm and putting it in another. And on the offensive front, a lot of injuries here. Ingracia playing very, very steady at that tackle position on the left side. Well, here's a surprise, a pass on first down. It is going to be Elijah Williams. He is tackled behind the line of scrimmage by Greg Bright. Defensively, this is the way the Dogs will open it up tonight. The defensive line, boy, they got to keep pressure on the quarterback tonight. And the free spirit, Matt Storm, playing very well right now. The linebackers, well, everybody says Randall Godfrey is as good as there is in the conference. Maybe in the country, his motor's always running. And in the secondary, this is not a good sign. But Corey Johnson, the free safety, he leads the team in tackles. Second down and 15, and you can see Werfel with an audible. Good protection, lobs it over the middle, has it complete to Sean Nunn, his tight end, the sophomore out of Ocala.
Ron, you're looking at Danny Werfel, and it's an interesting move tonight by Steve Spurrier, replacing Terry Dean, who was a Heisman hopeful, now second team. But Danny Werfel's thrown 6 touchdown passes in a game and a half this year. He's thrown 22 touchdown passes for Florida, so he has experience.
Mike, they moved the chains, and they are across midfield for the first time tonight. 19 yards on that pass play. Play of Elijah Williams. Eli is going to take it just inside the 45-yard line for a gain of about 3. Travis Stroud is down at the bottom of the stack.
You know, Steve Spurrier told us the other day, he said that Danny Werfel doesn't have the arm strength that Terry Dean has, but he makes plays. He's a thinker. And I asked him, I said, will we see Terry Dean? He said, this is Danny Werfel's ball game.
Last year, as I mentioned, Mike, Werfel started the ball game. Terry Dean came in and did well in relief in that one. So both had a hand in the victory. This time they roll the pocket. They get a little isolation as Jack Jackson is standing almost alone across the way. And he is close to the first down, but they're going to spot him out at around the 38-yard line. Robert Edwards.
And what Florida would like to do is what every other Georgia opponent tries to do, control the football, short passes. They'd like to get their running game going, but I don't know how much this weather, the rain, the cutting ability on that field will affect the running game. When it rains like it did before the game, the passing game is helped because you know where, as a receiver, where you're going. Defensive backs are really, they don't want to take chances because they may slip and fall.
This is very good turf, though, for as bad a conditions as we've had.
I agree. The advantage is still offense.
Pressure from the backside is going to go long. He's got Jackson out there and just beyond his fingertips at the 10-yard line. My goodness.
Well, they had him, but Carlos Yancey was on a blitz, number 20, a defensive back, but the ball was just overthrown. And Jack Jackson is a receiver. You can't play one-on-one, but you can't afford to sit back. Marion Campbell was going to try to gamble and go after Danny Werfel, and the gamble paid off.
So it's 4th down, and they need 1 or maybe just a little bit under. It'll take it to the 37-yard line. Scrimmage, but the second effort by Eli Williams, and I think he got it. That's Philip Daniels, who has him in his grasp. Mike, as they bring the chains in or give the signal for the first down, Elijah Williams was not able to play in the Auburn game, and as good as Fred Taylor is, that 1-2 punch has been very good, and I think they missed him in that ball game.
Well, you're right, Ron. Elijah Williams gives you the type of back that can take it all the way, and when you have 2 young running backs and one gets hurt in a big game like Auburn, Fred Taylor had to play the whole way. He couldn't get spelled by Elijah Williams. In high school, Elijah Williams averaged 10.5 yards a carry. He only ran 9 times a game, but he just dominated high school games. He is a long ball threat as a runner.
Well, you can see what the Bulldogs have allowed, Mike, almost 208 yards per game. That's the second most in the SEC, second to Kentucky.
And that, when you have yards like that you're giving up, you're not going to win many games.
First down play, they go with a running play, and Williams hit at the line of scrimmage and breaks off. That's an amazing second effort as Travis Jones had a hold of him, and leg strength, he just continued to fight. He's going to wind up with positive yardage rather than being held to no gain at all at the line of scrimmage. And that probably puts a label on Williams, or says it as well as anything. The fact that he normally winds up on the other side of the pile rather than short of the pile. Just underway. If you just joined us, we had a rain delay. Did not kick off until 7:15. Pressure's on, pass is there, and it is caught. Elijah Williams just short of the 15-yard line.
Ron, they had that defended as well as you could defend it, but Randall Godfrey didn't react to the football. Danny Werfel is going to throw the ball right on the money after an excellent fake. Matt Storm pressures him, number 98, but you see Randall Godfrey, he just didn't play the football. Elijah Williams able to go at its highest point and bring that football in.
That's the second 19-yard completion by Danny Werfel, the sophomore out of Fort Walton, 6'2", 212 pounds. Looking for the end zone this time. Got a man there. Dorian, yes, has it for the touchdown.
Not bad for a backup quarterback.
Wow.
That's a pretty good drive, and it kept Eric Zier on the sidelines and turned into 6 points.
Mike, how big is it to have jumped out the way they have right here?
It's important because Georgia has success in the first quarter.
Extra point attempt. Judd Davis knocks it home. And you see the reaction of Danny Werfel as his team goes on top, 7-0. ESPN's presentation of Saturday Night CFA is brought to you by Oldsmobile and your local Oldsmobile retailers. Late in the fourth quarter, 1964, Bulldogs lined up for a field goal to upset number 9 Florida. Look, the snap slithers away and Bobby Etter scores. From 5 yards out, Vince Dooley got his first Border War win. You're looking at the defensive starters for the Georgia Bulldogs. The man closest to you there, Corey Johnson, and he is the man that was victimized just a moment ago on that touchdown pass to Dorian. Shane Edge will kick it off for the Florida Gators, leading 7-0. Hines Ward in the run, fumbles it for a moment, then picks it up. And he's going to wind up with a very nice return on the play.
Hey, Ron, first of all, the split is real tight. You see Chris Doring here is split real tight, and then here's Corey Johnson up here. Now, you're going to see the route. It's a corner route, but because they're so tight, Chris Doring, they have him so tight, he has the whole field on the corner there to work against Corey Johnson for the corner route, was able to keep 1 foot in bounds for the touchdown.
9 plays, 60 yards, 347. The link. Wiffle, 5 of 6. Zier rolls the pocket, has his first pass completion, and that is to Jeff Thomas. Here are the starters for Georgia. Hines Ward. Well, this time next year, he'll probably be playing quarterback. That's what he played in high school. But right now, he's the leading average ball carrier, almost 6 yards per tote. Bryce Hunter, as far as the wide receivers, he's a big concern for a banged-up Florida Gators secondary. And the offensive line, Meadows on the left side, having ankle problems. He probably is going to go against Kevin Carter a lot tonight, and that is a concern for the Bulldog coaches. Well, they look in from the other side, looking for Thomas again, and the pass is incomplete. Defensively for the Gators, this is the way they open tonight. Defensive line. Well, what a player Ellis Johnson is, and Mikey ought to be in a good mood. He got married this past week. The linebackers, well, Ben Hanks, he leads the team in tackles, and he's also one of the most experienced players for Florida. He has 27 starts. And in the secondary, Larry Kennedy, he's supposed to start this ball game. He has been hobbled with a knee injury. He's wearing a big brace, and in fact, as we look on the field right now, they have decided, nope, he's there, working on the left side, going up against Jeff Thomas. Just out of your screen in the bottom. This running play on 3rd down. I don't know if he got it or not. Very close.
Ron, this is a tough team to run the football against. This Florida defensive line, front 4, dominates the line of scrimmage, and it's going to be a problem for Georgia all night. You see that they only give up 67.5, fewest in the SEC. Georgia's offense is 9th in the SEC in rushing defense. Now here your special teams. You got to worry about Florida, especially on the right side. They really rushed the punter on the right side. Ron Zook's team has blocked 2 kicks already. Got in so fast on 1 punt early in the year, the punter was not able to get it off, but they take a lot of pride in blocking kicks.
So we'll get a good look at it here from the end zone as Langley attempts to get it away, and you see they had light pressure, but the return is on. That's a very good coverage kick. 17-yard line, Sharola Palmer. Palmer's playing with a pulled muscle, but he showed no effects from it there. 47 yards on the kick and 11 on the return. So we'll take a break. 10:01 remaining, opening quarter.
Thursday at 8, running back Anthony Shellman faces the BC defense when Louisville takes on Boston College, only on ESPN.
You're looking live at a jam-packed house here at Ben Hill Griffith Stadium on the campus of the University of Florida. It is the annual meeting between Georgia and Florida, but for the first time in 63 years, it's being played in one of the campus sites because of the renovation of Jacksonville's Gator Bowl. 1931, the last time they played it here. Next year, we'll go to Athens and then back to Jacksonville, we understand, for, well, as long as the agreement stays. Short gainer this time as Taylor comes to the ball game and gets the carry. Let's check in with Mike Adamle. Mike?
Well, Ron and Mike, it's no secret here in Gainesville that Steve Spurrier's relationship with Terry Dean has deteriorated to the point where they barely talk to one another. Hard to believe in 3 short weeks, Dean's gone from Heisman candidate to second teamer, and there's some speculation that should Danny Wuerffel falter, Dean would be bypassed and Spurrier would go with Eric Kresser, the 13th sophomore. Minute.
Okay, we'll get back to you then. Pitch as Taylor tries to turn the corner. He does, and Godfrey is going to hit him along with Corey Johnson. Mike, finish up on this story.
You know, after getting yanked from the Auburn game did much to cool Terry's affection for his coach. But on the wall in Steve Spurrier's office, this quote from UCLA legend John Wooden. If you're a good coach, your players will play very close to how you teach them to play. With regards to Dean, Spurrier stated, I've done a lousy job of coaching him. Their relationship, another episode in As the Gators Turn.
Okay, Mike. Wow.
There's a lot of John Wooden's quotes being used by coaches all over the country.
Just under 9 minutes to play in this opening quarter. As again they go running play, and you see the strong upper body of Fred Taylor as he gets hit and then continues forward.
You mentioned it early that it did hurt Florida against Auburn not having the 2 backs, and that's the reason why, because they stay fresh. They're both young. They both can get over, get a rest, watch what the defense is doing. Fred Taylor kind of complements Elijah Williams, and when you have both those backs in the game same time, you can use them same time. It's really an awesome offense.
Mike, what's also awesome, not to defensive coordinators around the SEC, but both of these guys are freshmen.
Be around a long time chasing defensive coordinators.
Nothing at left tackle, so let's take it outside on the left, and he'll go across midfield and is down at the 48 as Carlos Yancey is there to put the stop on it.
Well, the game plan of Steve Spurrier offensively is to control the clock, put points on the board, and keep Eric Zier on the sideline. Now, we're at 8 minutes in the first quarter, and Eric Zier's been on the field for 3 plays, and they'd like to do it running the football, and that's exactly what they're doing in this drive.
You know, Mike, everybody came to this stadium talking about that we're going to see a 4-hour ball game, because last year in the rain, Zier threw it 65 times. At this rate, it'll be a physical impossibility for him, too.
They just can't get their hands on the football.
Out in the flat, got him wide open. This is Bilkey. And he'll take it for the Florida first down. Marcus Williams, the sophomore out of Valdosta, catches him around the ankles, but the change will move again for the Gators.
Chris Bilkey just sneaks out of the backfield after a fake to the tailback. You're going to see the fullback, number 39, just sneak inside the linebacker, just long enough for Marcus Williams, the linebacker, number 44, to lose sight. And a good completion by Danny Wuerffel.
Graduate student in sports administration. Corners creeping up as they look for a running play. Nothing at the line of scrimmage. Taylor's going to be knocked down as Travis Jones has him by the legs and will make the stop. So it'll be a second down and very close to 10.
Georgia's run defense ranks 11th in the SEC, allowing 207 yards. They just have not had a good year defensively. They can't stop people running the football. That means the clock's moving. People are putting points on the board, and it's not a good year defensively.
They take the draw this time. Has a man open. Doreen over the middle. And Chris, who already has a touchdown pass, will have a first down at the Georgia 24. Nice job of the offensive line of Florida.
What Florida does such a good job of is throwing the ball on time. He's going to run down the field here, Chris Doring, and when he breaks, that ball's in the air, and the completion. Danny Werfel threw on time.
Ground again. Fred Taylor bounces off one, will not get by the second. Now here comes a flag deep in the secondary. This was totally away from the play after Greg Bright had made the tackle. And also the Bulldogs have a player down. Philip Daniels is the man who's injured, but let's get the signal here first.
Going to call that on Jack Jackson.
And normally they don't mention a number, but Dick Bartlett, you could see his lips. He said number 1, and it was called as Jackson was trying to block down the field. So that'll cost him 15.
It was in the secondary and against Carlos Yancey, number 20.
Mike, the tackle may have already been made, which means if it's a post-play foul, then they also lose the down, right?
Calling it during the run, Ron.
Okay, so then they get the down all over again. Yeah, so it'll be first down. Couldn't tell because it was very close. But the biggest thing to the Gators and their offensive folks is the fact that it is first and 25. No backs in the backfield. Werfel out in the flat. Got it complete to Ike Hilliard, and he'll take it inside the 25. And Mike Tirico, our first visit with you this evening during this ball game. How are things going up in dry Bristol?
Dry and fine, Ron. We mentioned the Heisman candidates didn't have great days except for Keyjana Carter and this man. Aaron McNair, here's one of his touchdown passes, one of his 4. He threw for 563 yards, ran for 61, and ran in a touchdown. Alcorn State and Samford played to a 45-45 draw.
Wow. Speaking of defensive coordinators being a little nervous, 90 points in that one. Now everybody got their ticket price worth. Blitz coming by Georgia. They go for the end zone. Doring all alone. Touchdown, his second of the night.
Quarterbacks are schooled so well here at the University of Florida. At the line of scrimmage, they look at the alignment of the safeties. They had Chris Doring as an inside receiver. Danny Werfel picked up the mismatch, hit him on the corner route for a touchdown.
Well, the senior out of Ocala, Judd Davis, trying to put the Gators on top 14-0. He still had 5:16 left in this opening quarter. He does. So as we go to break, one more look at the second touchdown pass of the night to Chris Doring. (14-0), the Florida Gators. They've had the ball twice, and they've scored twice. And take a look at this scoring drive. 9 plays, 69 yards, almost 5 minutes used this time. And again, they successfully keep Eric Zier off the field. Doring 2 touchdown passes so far tonight. Eric Zier anxious to get back on the football field because it was one short series and out for his Bulldog team. takes it at the 30, 35, and out across the 40-yard line. Mike, how about the touchdown? What happened?
Same thing. They have Chris Doering inside, and he's against Will Muschamp, but see how far inside he is? Now you're going to see a route where he's going to run the corner route. Okay, here comes Chris Doering off. Working, look at how far inside Will Muschamp is. He never really can make the play on Chris Doering.
Werfel off to an outstanding start. He's only missed one pass. He's 9 of 10. Zires zings the completion. Hassan Graham will have the first down out of bounds at the 48.
Eric Zire is lined up. As you look at his numbers, 20 touchdown passes, 9 interceptions. He usually lines up in the shotgun at 5 yards deep and then drops another couple yards. He's very difficult to get to the sack. You can try to get him to hurry the football. Very difficult. He's only been sacked about 3 times this year.
Pressure from Carter, and the pass is caught. Nice job by Jeff Thomas, and a nice job by Zire, as Kevin Carter was really on top of him.
Ron, this whole game's going to come down to whether or not, for Georgia on offense, their 5 linemen can block the 4 defensive linemen from Florida, because they can block them. They'll give Eric Zire some time. Now you see Georgia's not running or putting a running back in the backfield. They're going with all receivers into the game, something that Florida has not seen out of Georgia on tape.
And if you wonder why those offensive linemen are holding on right there, they don't do it through the play, but since they can't hear the signal, the guards know when to drop their hand. That means to go. Oh, face mask and a bad one. Wow, Hines Ward gets spun around by Ben Hanks, and I'd be surprised if that were not the 15-yard variety.
Ward on the carry. Tackle by Kennedy, flag.
Against the defense. First down. Ron, when we were talking to Steve Spurrier the other day, a pretty fair quarterback himself, he said about Eric Zire, he says very accurate, maybe the best ever to play in the SEC, which I thought was a great compliment. And he's also said he'll be a good pro, and I think he will be also.
Spurrier has been extremely complimentary of number 10. He really likes his talents. He also likes him as a young man.
He came to his camp when he was a senior in high school before his senior year. Came to the camp here at the University of Florida.
Well, you could see the noise has cost them 5. They pulled out too quickly. Looked like Herman Bell came out of his stance just before the ball was snapped.
Dead ball foul. False start on the offense.
Mike Tirico, what do you have for us?
Ron, before the game during the rain delay, we told you it was 20-2 Cal, but back comes Washington State on 4th and inches. Chad Davis to David Nuff. They go in 3 plays later. They're down 5 and have the ball back.
Mike, the most surprising thing is the fact that that defense has given up that many points early. They have done it again, this time Adam Meadows. And what is happening, Mike, is on the outside. This time it was Cameron Davis. They're giving him a false start.
It's 2 in a row on Georgia. But it's interesting what Florida's trying to do. Number 4 will drop out of here, but look at, they only have 4 people in the box. We talk all week about different games where people put 8 people in the box to stop the run. Here Florida's playing with 4 in the box to stop the pass. They're giving the run. Lawrence Wright, number 4, will drop in and out.
Down at the line of scrimmage, it's going to be Henry McMillan, who has been out with a knee injury since the Ole Miss game, and they are extremely excited to have him back in the company of Ellis Johnson, Kevin Carter, and Mark Campbell.
said at the beginning of the year when I watched these guys practice, they've got the best defensive line in the country. Total group. Auburn might be very, very close, maybe as good, but this defensive line here is excellent.
Second down, the line to make, the 9-yard line of Florida. Zaire, nice throw. Hines Ward. Boy, he gets roughed up in the flat. That's a nice play by Darren Hambrick, the sophomore out of the Coochie, Florida. Everybody's a little jumpy. That was a big bass drum down there, and everybody looked up to the sky to see if that was lightning and thunder again. We had a pretty bad storm here between 5:30 and 7. Not one for the weak at heart. And I'll tell you, our engineers, they are the best, folks, but they're the only reason we're on the air. These guys have done a magnificent job to keep water out of where it's not supposed to be. Zings it over the middle, incomplete. Bryce Hunter is who he wanted, just beyond his fingertips.
Can't throw it much better than that, Ron. I think that ball has to be caught by Bryce Hunter. That ball was on the money. Eric Zaire, number 10, throws as well as any college player at quarterback on the break. Here's the throw to Bryce Hunter. He's got to make that catch.
So the field goal attempt is coming up by Parkin. The ball will be placed down at the 40 or the 35-yard line, so a 45-yard attempt. Very soggy conditions. Looks as though he's got the distance. Just off to the right and no good. Oh, my goodness. Mike Adamle, let's check in with you as they change possessions here.
Well, Ron, I don't know what it sounds like to you and Mike upstairs, but it is positively deafening down here. You know, Florida Field isn't built in a traditional fashion as an oval. There's a lot of obtuse angles. Consequently, the sound gets trapped down here on the field. We've been to Tuscaloosa, we've been to Athens, we've been to Knoxville. Here in Gainesville, the loudest stadium by far, and it really affected Zaire and the Georgia offense that last series.
Mike, we're going to show you a little bit more of that north end zone and why it has become so noisy. As you see a counter tray, Elijah Williams back in the ballgame, and he will pick up positive yardage. Here's the area that they added onto. If you'll take the upper 2/3 of your screen and look, that did not used to be there. Once they put it there, what Mike is talking about is it locks in the sound. And there's so much metal already in here, Mike, and it's like the sound goes back and forth. And arguably, I mean, this may be as loud a stadium as there is in the entire country.
I always thought the toughest for me was Florida State when I was coaching, but this is loud. Those 14 points help the loudness.
The decibels go up as they score more touchdowns. Williams again. He'll have the first down. It's Derek Smith defensively for Georgia.
When you're on that sideline against a team like Florida, that crowd becomes a factor. And Florida feeds off of the crowd here, offensively and defensively.
They're about to go under 2 minutes left in this opening quarter. The Gators of Florida, 14-0 over the Bulldogs of Georgia. The Gators have 9 first downs. Total of 3 for Georgia. Got it complete. Elijah Williams out of the backfield. Well, NFL game day and prime time beginning at noon Eastern time tomorrow. Chris Berman, Tom Jackson, Joe Theismann, and Chris Mortensen will look at Jim Kelly and the struggling Bills offense, as well as Dan Marino and the newly balanced Dolphin offense. And then at 7 o'clock, it's NFL prime time. Mr. Berman, Robin Roberts, and Tom Jackson for wall-to-wall highlights all tomorrow right here on ESPN. Eric Zaire on the telephone upstairs, and Mike, he has spent more time on the phone than he has on the field tonight. And that's not a good sign for Georgia backers. Williams out of the backfield. Working against linebacker Whit Marshall. Whit brings him down, but he will have another Florida first down.
Caught him in man coverage and just crossed the backs right past the line of scrimmage and put Elijah Williams versus a linebacker. When you go man coverage, that's a tough matchup for the linebackers of Georgia.
Well, we've seen some hot quarterbacks on Saturday nights on prime time. But this young fellow right here is fitting right into those footsteps. 11 of 12 for him for 130 yards in the opening quarter of this ballgame. Jack Jackson loses the ball just as we talk about it. They come up with an incompletion, but that's because of a very good hit by Yancey.
Carlos Yancey just ran through the receiver, Jack Jackson, and caused that to be an incomplete pass. Or that's another completion for Danny Werfel. You're right, he's sizzling tonight. Everything he's throwing is on the money. The coverage in the secondary for Georgia is very loose right now. I don't know whether that's because of the field or because of the speed of the receivers. Maybe a combination of both, but real big cushions for the Florida receivers.
With a play action out in the flat, and this one is overthrown. He was looking for Dorian as Muschamp is out there on the coverage. That'll stop the clock, and we could be heading for the final play of this opening quarter. Speaking of hot hands, the game as far as the highest percentage of completions has to be what it is for sure. The Alabama and Georgia game that was played in Tuscaloosa. At a time that night, I remember we remarked, Mike, that 54 passes had been thrown and both quarterbacks had completed a total of 47, which it really is hard to do if you're just running a dummy drill.
And Danny Werfel, you saw his numbers, 11 out of 14.
Comes down as the pass is completed. That's going to be offensive holding as another flag comes down in the secondary. But at the line of scrimmage, one of the offensive linemen tackled one of the defensive linemen, and that's the reason for that marker.
Ron, it's the same thing I was talking about before. Elijah Williams versus Randall Godfrey. No contest. Elijah Williams is going to go through after the fake and work against Randall Godfrey. Just break to the right side. And it's just a tough play for Randall Godfrey to try to stay with him. You see the little move there, the little fake. And now he just disappears away from the linebacker. There's the block by Jack Jackson. That was called a penalty along with holding.
So the 10-yard penalty and repeat the down. And we are trying to see if we can't get his microphone working. But under these kind of conditions, it's surprising that everything is working that is working. But the rain has stopped for now. Hopefully it's gone for the evening. So it's third down, the line to make. The Georgia 37-yard line. Hilliard takes it to the 47-yard line, and that is the end of the opening quarter with our score 14-0 Florida over Georgia. Now at the end of the first quarter, it is Florida 14-0 over the Georgia Bulldogs, and with a 4th down and 10, it means that Shane Edge will have to come on and do his duties. McCraney is back in a single safety for Georgia. Off the side of his foot, and he's going to, well, now takes a Florida bounce. That thing is going to go dead at the 7-yard line. Well, here's the start of the first quarter, and in case you missed what happened, Mike.
Chris Doering, they lined him up as an inside receiver about 3 yards from the tackle. Hit a corner route on there. They've got him against the safety, so they've got a match they like. Doering versus the both safeties, and both touchdowns for University of Florida.
Mike, look at this right here. We talked about it during that first quarter. Almost 11 and a half minutes.
Perfect game plan by Steve Spurrier. Keep Eric Zier on the sidelines. And then when he comes in, making press to try to do something.
It does make you press, too, doesn't it? Human nature.
You know you're not in there that much.
Yep. Well, they roll the pocket. Throws it complete out at the 11. Jeff Thomas again. Jeff has been a busy fella here in this first half. Fred Weary comes over to put the hit on him.
Big win by Oregon over Arizona.
Boy, is it ever. The Ducks.
The Ducks are trying to get to Pasadena.
Utah continues to roll. They won the big one over Colorado State.
How about Texas Tech and Spike Dykes?
Spike Dykes. And you said after you saw them early, you thought it was not a good time to play them later on.
I tell you what, they better get them this year, too, because they're a young football team. Spike Dykes has a couple good years ahead of him there.
Hines Ward. And he's going to go for short yardage. One of the few running plays that Georgia has mounted this evening. Kevin Carter will grab him around the ankles.
Kevin Carter's the type of defensive end, if you drew a defensive end up, that you would want him to look like. He's 6'6", 271, and can run. Great feet, great leverage player. He's going to have a lot of success in the next level also.
So it's third down. And if Georgia wants to keep this thing going, they've got to advance the ball out over the 17. He's got it. Ron Daniels. Nope, I beg your pardon. I had the wrong yard line. He is going to be short of the first down. And Eddie Lake, a senior out of Tarpon Springs, made a sure open field tackle.
And Ron, if you don't have success on first down against this Florida defense, you're in for a long night, because on third down, they've got 6 defensive backs in the ball game. Eddie Lake, a backup safety, number 18, makes the tackle on Juan Daniels and forces the punt.
Well, let's see if they come after him this time. Nope, they got the return on. Oh, this is a beauty. Sorolla Palmer all the way back to the 36 of Florida. And Palmer is across midfield and down to the 44. So let's take a timeout. It's a 51-yard kick and 20 on the return.
All right, okay.
ESPN's presentation of Saturday Night CFA is brought to you by Saab and your local Saab dealers, who invite you to test drive the Saab 900 and new 900 Turbo Coupe and Convertible. 1965, Florida needed an SOS and got one from quarterback Stephen O. Spurrier. He directed a fourth-quarter drive, 77 yards in 30 seconds. And Jack Harper got the TD grab, and the Gators went past the University of Georgia. That in 1965's version of the Border War. Now Fred Taylor comes in on this series, replacing Elijah Williams. They fake it to him, and here's Jack Jackson on the reverse. Back into the boundary, puts a head down, and he's close to a first down at the 35. Muschamp defensively.
Ron had talked about the success that Georgia has had going into tonight. In the first quarter, they've outscored their opponents 76-26. But tonight, Florida has controlled the football in the first quarter against this Georgia offense. It's tough to score when you're sitting on the pine over there.
I know what kind of up and positive young man that Eric Zier is, but this has to be very, very frustrated right now.
Well, we talked about it. You mentioned it also, that when you're not in there and then all of a sudden you go in, you try to make things happen. Just press.
Try to do too much. You're right. Werfel under pressure. Green picks up his man, and the pass is thrown complete. And it's going to be stopped at the 25-yard line is Ike Hilliard.
Well, Ike Hilliard really made this play, because when Danny Werfel got flushed out of the pocket and started moving to the right, Matt Storm, number 98, put pressure on him. But Ike Hilliard, number 19, came back to Danny Werfel and made that completion.
Mike had watching to the practice field the other day. Jack Jackson and Aubrey Hill, very, very good. They're upperclassmen. The boy, number 19, Ike Hilliard, and number 15, Riddell Anthony. They stand out at practice, and they are both only freshmen.
You're right. And Steve Spurrier thinks they're going to be great here.
They sure look like it. They fake the draw play, throws it over the middle, and that was for Bilkey, and it was just a little bit behind him. So it stops the clock at 12:03 until halftime. And so far, it has been all Florida Gators. Just as Mike described, they have just been able to keep Georgia's offense off the field. Last year in this ball game, Zier threw the ball 65 times for just under 400 yards. He negotiated the bad weather and the defense.
You see Randall Gottfried going to the sideline. That's because Florida's hurting the linebackers with the mismatch of the backs. So they're bringing in the defensive back to replace Randall Godfrey in passing situations.
Might have got Doring lined up inside again. And he gets shoved out of his route. Warfel gets the ball away, and he still almost came back and caught the ball on an ad-lib. That's good pressure by Walter Rouse.
Chris Doring's had a career first quarter here working against the safeties, but you almost figure that Jack Jackson's going to appear here very soon. Here's the pressure against Danny Werfel. Walter Rouse, number 97, is the first man to get to Danny Werfel and knock him down, but I'd keep my eye on Jack Jackson here.
So it's third down, and they got to take it just inside the 15-yard line. Blitz up the middle is coming. That's where they throw the ball, and it is caught by Doring. First and goal, Florida.
Corey Johnson almost had an interception, but almost doesn't count against Florida. Chris Doring with another solid catch. And Steve Spurrier said the other day that Danny Werfel doesn't have the arm strength that the other quarterbacks possess, and you see the ball is right in on the numbers of Chris Doring, but Corey Johnson just a little late trying to pick that football off.
And look at the young man's hometown. It's got to be even more special for him because he's doing it here at home. He's from Gainesville. He's a junior. He's got now 4 catches for 68 yards. Taylor goes left side, and there's not much doing. He'll pick up 1 as Carlos Yancey comes up first.
Danny Werfel has come off the bench against Auburn. In this ball game here today, as you mentioned earlier, he's been hot. Chris Doring's been his favorite receiver, working him against the safeties of Georgia. Got Doring lined up inside again on the left side. It'll be against another safety.
Try to cross him up with a running play. Taylor's going to be stopped at the 2. That's Muschamp, who is down at the bottom to make the hit. Also, you can see Corey Johnson, number 27.
Ron, it's the reverse, too, of your football team. I'm sure Ray Goff, as he stands on the sideline, knows Eric Zier's been out on the field, hasn't been on the field, but Marion Campbell's defense, as you look at Marion, has been on the field quite a bit here in this first half. And they're beginning to wear out a little bit.
You know, Mike, and that was a major concern early on in the season. That opening game against South Carolina, 91 plays. The next week we had him against Tennessee, 84 plays.
And Ron, when you throw the ball and you do not have a running game, that's what happens. Your defense is on the field a lot more than you want them.
And they roll it back toward the middle of the field. Throws wide open is Jack Jackson, and by golly, he overthrew him. Jack looked like the first guy out to practice there in that corner of the end zone.
I think the only person that could cover Jack Jackson there was Ugga the dog, and he was behind him. He was so wide open that just...
You don't think that would have been a mismatch, huh?
Well, Ugga would have bit him in the ankle, maybe, and brought the hands down a little bit.
He's got his tags in. Judd Davis will attempt this field goal of 19 yards, trying to put the Gators up 17-0. And he does. It's good. So let's take a break. 9:55 left until halftime. It has been all Florida Gators. (17-0) Florida. Right now, it is time for Sega Sports Student Athletes of the Game. For Georgia, senior quarterback Eric Zier. He's majoring in business, and he has a 3.0 grade point average. And for Florida, senior quarterback Terry Dean. He's majoring in business administration and marketing. He has a 3.9 GPA. Sega congratulates these fine student athletes.
Ron, the one thing, if you're a Georgia fan, I wouldn't turn the TV off yet, because you got a quarterback and you got receivers that are as good as any in the country. They have the potential to come back. They really do. If they could just not make the mistakes, jump offside, get themselves in the hole. Hole number 10 right there can bring you back into this ball game. Eric Zier.
Mike, help me with another term, but in what you have seen up here in this first half, you kind of feel like it's been a clinic offensively, don't you?
It's a clinic by Florida's offense. They have just positioned their players in the perfect position to take advantage of Georgia in every manner defensively.
Bryce Hunter will not make it back to the 20-yard line. Now look at this. The defense on the field. Georgia, 32 plays. Florida's defense has had to play 5 minutes and 11 seconds, 12 plays. That's the story of your ball game right there. Total yardage so far, Georgia 41 and Florida 226. So let's see if Zaire and company can get it going here. Their field position has not been overly wonderful either. Pass is complete. That's Terrell Davis, and he gets spun over the top. They didn't know how much he was going to be able to play. He's had a pulled muscle. Anton Lott is the man who hit him. See Scott Brownholtz turning and talking to his guards. Gets him again. This time he's got Hunter. Gets behind a block, and he'll take it as far as he can and then steps out of bounds at the 48-yard line. Mike Harris was trying to cover him.
By going to the empty set, which I mean by empty, there's nobody in the backfield. Now you look, here's 1, 2, 3, 4 defensive linemen and 2 linebackers outside. Now you do have the possibility of the quarterback on a draw play or a trap play up inside. That's wide open, but you're throwing against the heavy pass coverage when you don't have the running game.
Biggest gainer of the night by Georgia, 23 yards. This time down the middle, he's got Hunter again. And Bryce is going to be stopped just short of the 36, but that is another Georgia first down. Now this goes back to what Mike said just prior to the kickoff. They can move the ball very quickly.
Ron, they've got weapons. The problem is they can't run the football. If they can run the football, take a lot of pressure off Eric Zaire. Rushing yardage so far in this ballgame with 8:57 to go. Georgia has 5 yards rushing.
Throws it again, this time a little low. Juan Daniels is who he wanted. Juan couldn't get down and scoop that one up, so it stops the clock. We still have 8:37 until halftime.
Just to add to that, when you do not have a running game, all the pressure is on number 10, Eric Zaire. All your pressure on offense is for him to play. He's got to play excellent every time, because if you're going to score points, he's going to put you in the end zone 9 out of 13. But it also puts pressure on your defense because you never run the clock.
And that's big, and you saw that number just earlier. Going to go for the end zone this time, and it is going to be intercepted by Lott. Anton Lott. And they're going to say the ball will go down just short of the 1-yard line, and there is a flag back at the 45. Is that roughing?
It may be roughing the passer.
Campbell was really coming after him.
Have a personal foul, roughing the passer against the defense. 15 yards.
Ron, you remember the Alabama game? Ray Goff, after the Alabama game, complained to the Southeastern Conference. He said, what constitutes roughing the quarterback? He felt like he was rough in the Alabama game. Here's the interception right here by Anton Lott, number 9. Roughing the passer called on Kevin Carter, number 57.
Yeah, Carter was coming on and gave him the last-minute shove, so they threw the flag, and it is indeed a reprieve for the Georgia Bulldogs. 1st and 10, ball at the 22 of Florida. They're down by 17. Shovel pass. Ball's on the ground. It's incomplete. That is the terrific thing about that play is Terrell Davis, as soon as he got the ball, he also got the defender, and it's just an incompleted pass.
Ellis Johnson was right there. I believe Ellis Johnson is as good a defensive lineman as there is in the country, right with Warren Sapp out of Miami. I think that he is, without a doubt, you have to double him if you're going to beat Florida. Auburn doubled him. Georgia's doubling him tonight with the guard and the center.
Boy, Nebraska today with a great reverse pivot shovel pass that worked extremely well.
Had a lot of success today.
Yeah. Here they come with the blitz. Pass up in the middle. Got him open, incomplete. And Juan Daniels fights away from the tackler at the 2, at the 1. Make it the 6. Sorry. But it was exciting to call it that way.
They have the weapons. Juan Daniels was a little bit of an unknown, but is now established. Caught 6 against Kentucky last week. Continues to be a surprise receiver for this Georgia football team. No backs in the backfield. Dexter Daniels with a blitz, number 48. Juan Daniels with a good reception, trying to get the extra yardage.
First and goal for Georgia. Mike, it has worked again. Those defensive linemen are coming up, moving an arm as though they're going to come across, and then the offense is jumping rather than waiting for the snap.
The offense has to look into the ball.
We had movement by the offense caused by defense jumping in there. Therefore,
Ron, you talk about Nebraska and the success. Brooke Behringer today with a good game at quarterback has established himself now as a quarterback to be reckoned with. Had an outstanding ball game for Nebraska.
I was really happy for that young man. He's had a lot of doubters, dissenters, so to speak, and he really stepped up in what is obviously a huge football game.
A great defensive effort by Nebraska and a great game plan by Tom Osborne, and his team is to be congratulated.
Well, they picked the flag up. And down again. Terrell Davis, the only setback. Zire looks in the middle, throws it incomplete. Nice job by Larry Kennedy.
Larry Kennedy was injured in the Auburn game, wore a brace in practice yesterday, really broke on the football here to make a big play. Did sign with Ohio State. When Ron Zook left Ohio State to come to Florida, Larry Kennedy sat out the year, came down to Florida and worked, and then came here to the University of Florida with Ron Zook.
Mike, I'm really surprised that he's played as much as he has in the first half, because straight up and straight back, he looked okay in practice on Thursday, but making cuts, he didn't look nearly so sure.
Well, you're right, but I'll tell you, he's out now one-on-one on the outside here with a pretty good receiver.
9th play of the drive for Georgia. There it is, right in the middle at the 1. And Juan Daniels does not get into the end zone.
That's the thing about Eric Zire. He has a toughness about him. He's a fierce competitor. Just keeps bringing his football team back. Juan Daniels, number 12, is going to catch the ball on an option route and trying to get in that end zone. Wow, that's close. Close. Looked like he was in.
Third down and touchdown. Terrell Davis got the touchdown. You can see the Florida defenders, they still don't agree. They thought they had held him up. But it is a 17-6 ball game.
After Eric Zire gave the ball to Terrell Davis, he rolled out to the right. He was yelling at the official to make the call, and that official was the one that raised his hands first.
Cannon Parkman trying to pull the Dogs back to within 10. Knocks it home, and as we go to commercial, here's the reaction to the head coach as the Bulldogs are on the board.
There's 6:36 left in the second quarter. After that, we'll have the GMAC halftime report, including Chris Craig and the coach from Lincoln, Nebraska. A little perspective on this big day in college football, a day which saw Florida State knock Duke from the ranks of the unbeaten. Danny Cannell had a big day. Omar Ellis in this catch. We'll have more highlights coming up at halftime. Now back to Ron in the swamp.
Okay, Mike, you should be down here with us. This is just one of those really fun rivalries that will just never get old. It's the oldest rivalry for both schools. But to think that it's been 63 years since they played it on either campus, and you wind up with a night game in a swamp with this kind of rain, rather eerie script. Riddell Anthony. And Riddell gets treated rather rudely just before the 25-yard line. Good job on the special teams by Georgia. Alandis Sims, and there is a flag down back upfield.
It's got to be offside on Georgia. Make him kick it again.
Well, here's the scoring drive. 9 plays, 83 yards. Just over 3 minutes used up. 3 rushes, 8 passes, and Davis on the 1-yard touchdown run. And Mike, 2 big things had happened there. A, they cut into the 17-point lead, but probably as big, the defense got some rest.
You're right, Ron. Both cases.
You have offside on the kicking team, 5 yards and kick over.
See, this is a big mistake this late in the season to have an offside in the kickoff. I'm sure the special teams coaches of Georgia don't like this, because you give Jack Jackson and Riddell Anthony, as you look at Ron Zook, he's the special teams coordinator for Florida. He was the defensive coordinator last year, now moved to special teams, has really put a lot of emphasis in the special teams. Coaches the nickelbackers also. But what this does, Ron, this sets up Riddell Anthony and Jack Jackson. Now, the ball would have been down near the 20-yard line. Now we'll see if they make him pay for the 5-yard offside.
Zook was hollering to his up lineman. It almost looked as though he said, look for a squib.
Well, he's thinking possibly.
Not an onside, but a squib.
He wants them to be alert, because sometimes you can hit a down lineman there with a squib kick.
Kicks it away, though. Jack Jackson. Boy, doesn't take things very long to happen when he handles the football. Whit Marshall finally knocked him out of bounds, but Florida improved their situation by almost 15 yards.
Jack Jackson's going to return this kick to the right. There's Ron Zook, the special teams coordinator. Used to play defensive back for Miami. Well, he doesn't have any pads on. He don't want to hit anybody. Now, he did hit people when he was in Miami.
Good thing he had that kind of reaction. They swing the pass out to Elijah Williams. And Williams is going to take it for a gain of about 7 yards up to the 46.
Ron, Georgia just having so many problems stopping this Florida offensive attack, because the linebackers are matched versus the backs. A big mismatch for Florida. The inside receivers are matched against the safeties. Florida has that advantage. I mean, they're just, and then when they want to run the ball, they've had success running the football.
In motion, but they go with the running play. And Mike Adamle, what do you have for us, sir?
Well, to make Georgia's defensive matters worse, Philip Daniels, you talked about him back in that second Georgia defensive series. He left the game with a mild concussion. It's obviously not the kind of thing you want to fool around with in light of some of the recent stories, but they're going to hold him out for the rest of this first half and possibly the second, depending how he responds at halftime. And that is a big, big loss for Georgia's defense.
Thanks, Mike. We'll check on him in the second half and see if he is able to return. He's a junior out of Donaldsville, Georgia. Short drop, and he gets it to Jack Jackson. Jackson tries to break away, but he does pick up the first down on the 3rd and short.
Danny Werfel checked off here. He's 3rd and a yard and a half, but he looks to the outside. Here's what he sees out here. Look at here. There's Jack Jackson, and there's the defensive player, so he has that much cushion in there. So he just says, hey, rather than run the football, let me just throw a quick hitch, just turn, pitch and catch, first down. Number 47, Robert Edwards, giving that big cushion.
Do it to the other side. This time the pass thrown a little bit short. Aubrey Hill is who he wanted. A little bit more on the story that we gave you on Aubrey Hill. They said on Thursday what they were doing with him. He had a blood disorder, so they were taking blood out of one arm, cleaning the platelets and putting it back in the other. And you know, they gave him clearance. They said he's fine, he can play. But the players were all abuzz about that on Thursday, about what was happening to him.
We've had a lot of things happen this week. A wedding, you know that. A lot of things were happening on campus here.
Yeah, he gave blood too. Over the middle, wide open. Williams has the first down at the 34-yard line.
This has been pitch and catch for Florida. Elijah Williams just sneaking inside against the linebackers. Elijah Williams works underneath that. Everybody was trying to defend Chris Doring on that play. Number 28 linebackers really moved back underneath Chris Doring and let Elijah Williams wide open underneath.
Mike, they've used him 6 times for passes tonight. Williams.
6 catches, right around 48 yards.
Warfel dumps that one out and a little bit short. Jack Jackson is who he wanted. That'll stop the clock. 3:56 until halftime. Gators on top 17-7. And again, the same kind of methodical drive, although Florida is throwing the football quite a bit, but they're control type passes.
Ron, I want to go back to what Mike Adamle said earlier about John Wooden's code. He said if you're a good coach, your players will play very close to how you teach them to play. What Steve Spurrier was saying to Terry Dean was that he was practicing very well in practice, but he was not taking it to the game. And he felt like Danny Werfel practiced well and took it to the game and played like he practiced.
This one's overthrown. He wanted Sean Nunn this time, the tight end. Hear a few groans from the crowd because for some reason going against the grain or against his body, he has thrown a little bit more accurately than throwing open on the right side.
Well, that's what Steve Spurrier said about it. He said he doesn't have the arm strength that Terry Dean has, but he makes plays and he's a thinker. He knows where to go with the football. Won't make many mistakes. Let's see if they go to Elijah Williams versus the linebackers again. They also have Chris Doring inside against the safety.
Yep, they sure do. That safety's a little tighter on him this time. For the end zone, going to be picked off by Carlos Yancey.
Ron, a mistake here by Danny Werfel. He had Chris Doring wide open. I believe it. He could have hit Chris Doring on the left side. You're going to watch Chris Doring, number 28 here again. He's had some success early. Now he's working against the linebacker. See how open he is there, but he decided he was working against Marcus Williams, number 44. Bad read by Danny Werfel. And he's saying, no, no, no. Go the other way, son.
So Georgia gets the football back, and they have working time. 3:43 until halftime. Swings it out. Terrell Davis makes the reception. Well, what's going to happen this coming week as far as college football here on our network? On Thursday evening, the Weekend Kickoff Classic presented by Russell Athletics, 7:30 Eastern Time. And then Mike and I will be in Louisville, Kentucky, Boston College against Louisville. And also the good doctor, Jerry Punch, will join us there. I think that's going to be a fun football game.
That's going to be a very good football game. Do you know what week it is in Louisville this week? I know you're a horse racing fan. The Breeders' Cup.
That's exactly.
Big week for the horse racing in Louisville, but we have a big football game.
Flag comes down. Zaire gets by one group, and this one tipped and knocked away. Jeff Thomas was the intended receiver, and now you can see Zaire coaches when he's on the field, and he doesn't hide his feelings. He's really talking strong with Jeff Thomas. He wanted him to do something different on that route. I think it's pretty obvious.
Well, Jeff Thomas will get the message from Eric Zaire, because if he's going to throw the football to him, he wants him to run the right route. The they have so many weapons at the wide receiver. You take Jeff Thomas, Hassan Graham, Bryce Hunter, Juan Daniels, and you throw in Hines Ward and those other tailbacks. They can score points, and they can be back in this football game within minutes.
Offside, defense, 5-yard penalty. Not quite a first down.
See, Ron, you can't get to Eric Zier. I mean, you can't sack him because, first of all, he's so deep lined up, and second of all, he's so quick getting rid of the football.
Tom Coughlin is downstairs watching him again. That's, I know, twice.
He's back again
To look at Eric Zier. Well, he's going to run it. He's got the first down, +5, +10, and they will spot him now. What are they going to say at the 40-yard line? Ben Hanks came after him, but they'll have the first down, +10. And it was Kevin Carter, actually, who flushed him out of the pocket.
Eric Zier. Kevin Carter is going to come on a rush on the right side and beat the tackle, or David Weeks, who's playing tackle number 55. Eric Zier chooses to get outside, get down, and pick up the first down and get the chains moving.
Mike, that's a gain of 11 yards. That's the longest rush by Georgia tonight.
3 quarterback sacks and 339 pass attempts coming into the game tonight.
That one is thrown complete, and he will step out of bounds immediately. But Craney caught it in the flat at the 48. That stops the clock just under 3 until halftime.
And that's a tribute to the offensive line. I'll give them credit, but it's really a tribute to Eric Zier because of the quick release. Knows when to get rid of the football. Pretty good pass offense they have. And Steve Spurrier knows he's in a football game. This guy can bring you back, and the next thing you know, you're in a dogfight.
Pressure from the outside. Pass is complete. That's a Georgia first down. And again, it's McCraney, as he was working against Lawrence Wright.
See, when you're coaching deep pass defense against Georgia, I'm sure Bobby Pruitt, the defensive coordinator, is telling guys they're going to make some completions. He's going to throw the ball maybe 50 times tonight or more. They're going to complete some passes, but we have to get some interceptions. We have to get some tipped balls, and we've got to be able to get some turnovers.
Florida made some changes defensively to give some folks a breather because they've been rushing the passer pretty hard. Cameron Davis just checked in, number 56. Only 3 down linemen for the Gators. And you can see they go with the running play. Hines Ward to the 40.
They did that against Alabama. When they caught Alabama in a 3-man rush, they checked off to the running game. So you can almost look for him tonight. When you see a 3-man rush, now Eric Zier knows he wants to get the ball in the hands of the running backs. Hines Ward, number 19, picks up about 4 yards, but he wants to run against that 3-man front.
Second and 6. Zier complete. That is a nice open field tackle. Ball is loose at the 40, and it's been picked up. Michael Gilmore, there are no whistles and no flags at the 5, and he will take it in. And now here comes a late flag way back at the 40-yard line.
We had clipping against the white team. It is a touchdown.
Ron, Larry Bowie fumbled that football. They tried to do what Florida's doing on offense. They wanted to put their running back against the linebacker. The difference, Florida is sitting back in there with a linebacker who's really a defensive back. Ben Hanks, number 11, he played it very well, caused the fumble, and scored the touchdown. Michael Gilmore, number 35.
Gilmore 59 yards for the touchdown, and I'm afraid for Bowie it's not his first time. He has had problems holding on to the football for Georgia.
Pretty good play call by Georgia to work against the linebacker, but the linebacker is Ben Hanks, number 11. He makes the tackle and strips the football away from Larry Bowie. Now Michael Gilmore will come up. Very smart player, number 35, picks the football up, was number 1 in his high school class academically, and also number 1 here on the field. Picking that football up, a wise move, and taking it for the touchdown.
And you can see Hambrick, one of the first men there, to give him congratulations. Defensive players, as you look at Hanks, he's the one that stripped the ball away from Bowie. Defensive players enjoy that more than anything, more than a sack or anything else. That's what they work hard for, to get it and take it in the opponent's end zone. And that's huge, Mike.
Well, it is, because Bobby Pruitt, we were just talking about it, they're going to get the ball completed against them, but you've got to cause turnovers. If somebody's going to throw the ball 50-some times, you've got to get a few of them. You've got to cause some fumbles, and that's exactly what Ben Hanks did on that play.
So rather than being a scoring opportunity of either a field goal or a touchdown for Georgia, to cut this football game either 17-14 or 17-10, boy, 14-point swing, it's 24-7, and all of a sudden old Mo hops back to the other side of the line of scrimmage, the ones with the orange and blue.
And Ron, they're kicking off from the 50. I always thought this was a great time for an onside kick when you kick off from the 50, but most teams just knock it into the stands.
This is because of the clipping penalty that was called.
Exactly.
The end zone. By the way, to our coordinating producer, Mo Davenport, and his wife Kathleen, we want to say a huge congratulations from the entire crew on the birth of Carolyn Grace. And from our entire group, Kathleen and Mo, we say, hey, congratulations, and so happy. We say, Caroline, welcome. And we're happy that everything's going well for mother and daughter, and for dad as well.
I wonder if Mo fainted. Seemed like he was a little nervous all week. The answer is no from Mo. He already gave us the answer.
He handled it well. Beautiful young daughter. That's great. Minute 35 left until halftime. And now a timeout called by Georgia. So we'll take the timeout with it. Gators by 17. 17-point lead for the Gators. Don't forget, coming up at halftime, a live report from Lincoln, Nebraska. And our question, who is number 1? Also, today's upsets. Very busy day in college football. We'll have it all for you coming up at halftime.
Who's your number 1, Ron?
I think Penn State. And I think that Nebraska, after what I saw today, a very strong number 2, Mike.
Nebraska's number 1 in my eyes, and Penn State's number 2, so we're going to argue.
You know, and that's the reason, boy, we need a playoff so badly. Minute 35 showing on the clock. Flags go down everywhere. Campbell was just right on top of him, and I think maybe Meadows, it appeared to me, came out of his stance or got back a little too quickly.
Dead ball foul. False start on the offense.
Georgia, 14 fumbles lost this season.
Mike, I think in looking at the numbers, that's 5 by Bowie. As I mentioned, it's a tough thing, but he's had trouble holding on to the football. Pass complete out in the flat. McCraney knocked out of bounds at the 24-yard line. That'll stop the clock at 1:26.
Knocked out of bounds by Hanks.
Georgia's got 2 timeouts left, Ron, with 1:26 on the clock. Three-man rush by Florida.
Again into the flat. McCraney gets as much out of it as he can, and he'll step out at the 33, and that will be a Georgia first down.
You know those defensive linemen are thinking, hey, this whole game we're chasing Eric Zier. He gets rid of the ball before we get there. We can't tackle anybody. You know, it's just not fair for these defensive linemen. That's what they're thinking. Ellis Johnson saying, hey, where's this? We want to tackle somebody.
And those offensive linemen are saying, I got at least 60 more muggings before this night is over.
They might not be tackling anything, but you're right. They're punching up.
That is tough. That is really hard. You will have to coax them to sleep. Pressure from the backside, and here comes a flag, and they have roughed Zier. He got hit from behind by Cameron Davis. Well, wait a minute. Let me double check my number here.
The Ellis.
I think maybe it was Ellis. I think you're right, Mike.
Have a personal foul, roughing the passer against the defense.
That's just what we're talking about. Ellis says, hey, I'm going to get there eventually.
Mike Adamle, let's check in with you.
You know, that roughing the passer call brings to mind, for all the pounding that Zier has taken, he is remarkably resilient. 37 consecutive starts after tonight, and he has had a hand in 98% of the plays. It's amazing the law of averages haven't caught up with this young man.
Ron, they called that on Cameron Davis, number 56, the backup defensive end. You were right in the first place.
Well, the pass is going to be incomplete. 55 seconds showing on the clock. This is just about the position that Georgia was in a moment ago. And in case you missed what happened, we have a 17-7 ball game. Georgia is driving, but then they throw to the back, just out of the backfield. Pass is complete, but Hanks hits him in the open field, causes a fumble. And it was at that point that Michael Gilmore picked the fumble up, and with 59 yards for a Florida touchdown. That's how we stand, 24-7. This to the other side. Nicely done, Hassan Graham.
This is the heir apparent to Eric Zier's job. Mike Bobo, the freshman quarterback, he's 6'2", 207. He's 4 out of 11. The one problem when you have a senior quarterback like Eric Zier, who plays every play of the ball game, Mike Bobo doesn't get much experience. But you're looking at next year's quarterback. They say they're going to keep the same type of offense. They want to go with the 4 wide receivers, but that they hope that they can run the ball a little bit more next year.
Mike, the redshirt freshman, Thomasville, Georgia, his home. Flags are down again, and that pass, he just throw it away. Again, heavy pressure. This time it was Kevin Carter who was coming after him.
He should have had a sack there, Ron, because he really was off the mark. Eric Zier just threw the ball away.
Offsides now.
That's probably why.
A little bit of a head start.
Well, he just ran right by the tackle, so
yeah, Raggins, I think, it got through.
That frustration again. You wear down defensive linemen. Kevin Carter's coming off to the side now to get a little bit of a rest. But when you're chasing that quarterback the whole ball game, you have to alternate the defensive linemen.
Now Johnny Church, number 40, has come in at right defensive end. And he's got a fresh uniform on. Zier's pass incomplete. McCraney, the intended receiver, stops the clock at 44 seconds. Seemed like 15 minutes ago we had 1:35.
Yeah, you were talking about a quick game there for a while, but all of a sudden the ball is in the air.
As we mentioned, coming up at halftime, we'll talk about this big Saturday in college football. Who's number 1? We'll get an update from out in Lincoln. Another marker down, pass complete to Graham. Looks for a block. He gets tagged from behind. Here comes another, and now another. We got flags all over the place. Ben Hanks made the tackle.
We have offsides on the defense. Blocking in the back by the offense. It's a double foul and replay the down.
Yeah, big break for Florida here.
Well, that's for sure. Hassan Graham had the reception and had the ball down inside the 25. Maybe one reason we have not seen him any more than we have tonight is he had a little bit of a muscle pull that he was being slowed by.
Didn't practice Monday and Tuesday. Also, has some problems with his ankle.
Zire swings it out of the backfield. That was Hines Ward that he wanted. 19 of 28, 152 yards. He threw it 65 times last year, and he's heading in that direction now.
And Florida's making him earn what he gets, too. They're all like the medium range and short passes. They're not going to give him the long bomb in this situation, or they shouldn't here. They're playing a lot of too deep, so trying to make him work underneath and work his way to the end zone, hoping he'll make a mistake.
Mike, Florida has now used 9 different defensive linemen with Church on this series right here. Zire throws it, tipped away, and now intercepted by Florida. Hambrick comes away with it. Stepped out of bounds, I think, right in front of the bench. Did he not?
No, I don't think so, Ron.
No.
Give him a touchdown.
Give him 6. Extra point attempt coming, and he drills it. 81 yards on the return.
Well, that's what you want to do with Eric Zire, is force him to work the field, hope he'll make a mistake. Here he threw right into coverage. Lawrence Wright, number 4. Darren Hambrick, number 42 with the interception. He's off and running. Comes from an athletic family. His uncle is Jim Mudcat Grant, former pitcher of the Cleveland Indians. Look at this run. That's where maybe a lot of people thought he stepped out, Ron, but he was inside. Comes number 42, Darren Hambrick. Watch his feet. Up and over. Didn't step out of bounds. Whoa, there was close there, but he didn't go out of bounds.
Great job by our camera folks. That is the end of the first half of their score. Florida 31, Georgia 7. Now let's check in with Mike Tirico for our halftime report. Michael.
Wow, a little Philippe Petit tightrope down the sidelines there on the Gators. The defense has scored twice and the offense has scored twice. At halftime, we'll recap what's been a very exciting day. We started the day with 8 unbeaten untieds. That changed. Part of the reason it changed in Lincoln, where Craig and Chris and the coach and some friends are still hanging out with them. They'll put the day in perspective. At the break, the Gators lead by 24. Halftime coming up. Don't touch the remote.
This halftime report is presented by GMAC.
To immediately get to the top 25 game going on, Washington State some trouble in the first half. A disaster, an aborted punt picked up by Ted Manning. 9-yard score for Cal. The Bears led 20-2, but Washington State made it 20-15 at the half, and they may be in good shape. Cal is down to its 4th string quarterback, Ziv Gottlieb. who was a high school quarterback at Beverly Hills High School. He didn't know Dylan, but the Bears may be in some trouble at the quarterback spot. We welcome you to the halftime report. We'll get to Lincoln momentarily. First, let's show you some of the highlights, including the game of the day, number 2 against number 3. And some of you Georgia fans may remember the great national title defense that the Dogs had in '80, the Junkyard Dogs. Well, Nebraska's defensive coordinator says this black shirt unit of Nebraska reminds him of the Junkyard Dog defense that Georgia had. The defense made the plays, and the offense played very well, including Brooke Behringer, the quarterback, 30 yards to tight end Eric Alford with some tight end, some fullback, some ball in the air. Nebraska dominated Colorado, winning 24-7 to stay unbeaten. 26th straight 9-win season for the Cornhuskers. Some reaction to this game from Lincoln momentarily. In the interim, some of the other big games of the day. Penn State just dominated Ohio State. Kijana Carter, 4 touchdowns and 137 yards. This one early, handing John Cooper's Buckeyes the worst school defeat since 1946, 63-14 the final. And Kerry Collins, the nation's top-rated passer, 19 of 23 for 265 yards. After the game, all the questions were about who's number 1.
I think we're a really good football team now. It's playing really well. I don't think it's necessary for me to say that now. I think at the end of the year, when everybody's played all their football games, if I feel that way, I'll say it.
We beat a good football team in Ohio State, and we resoundingly won, and then showed on the scoreboard. And I'd be miffed if we weren't number 1.
Penn State up 2 in the Big Ten Rose Bowl race. What about the Pac-10? Oregon made it a much closer race. Danny O'Neal to Josh Wilcox, 15 yards, 10-9 Ducks. They're going crazy in Eugene. Next possession, Dick Tomey's team has to go for it on 4th down. Dan White looking for Carrie Taylor, but Alex Molden, who was there on defense on 3 plays on this series, makes it here. These teams are both tied 4-1 in the conference. In Arizona, which usually stops the other team on the ground, was held to 56 yards rushing today. In the SEC, Auburn had a scare. They were in trouble. Terry's Tigers were down 14-10 in the 4th. They just gave it to Stephen Davis on the pitch to the right. This worked for touchdowns on 2 different fourth-quarter occasions, including this 53-yard capper as the Tigers win 19th straight game. They haven't lost this year, 6-0 in the conference. Davis had a career-high day in the Tiger victory. Texas A&M came in as an unbeaten, untied team, playing in the Alamo Dome against SMU. Corey Pullock needed this big play in the 4th quarter to Rodney Thomas. 25-yard score. It cut into SMU, and the spirits are still flowing. Here's Chris Fowler. Chris.
Oh, yeah, Mike. They're still celebrating. It's going to be a big Halloween week here inside of Iguanas and across the street from Memorial Stadium, where we are. Welcome back. Coach and the Craig join me. We'll get to the who's number 1 debate in just a minute. But first, today's story. The Nebraska defense, the story of this ball game. The black shirt defense, after an embarrassing performance against Wyoming, where they gave up 32 points. In the last 4 games, have given up 23 points, throttling a Colorado offense, averaging more than 40 a game.
Their quickness on defense was unbelievable, because I have a lot of respect for Colorado's offense. Imagine this. Colorado, with their high-powered offense, was 0 for 11 on 3rd down, 0 for 4 on 4th down. There's no way Colorado could score points today with those kind of adverse conditions.
Well, Craig, former Nebraska Hall of Fame football coach Bob Devaney told me in the press box this afternoon this is the finest Nebraska team he's ever seen at Nebraska. A strong statement. I asked him why. He said overall talent, speed, the best defense ever. Now, that's a strong statement from a legend. The guy's been here over 30 years. What a statement.
So now we have the debate. You've heard of the Lincoln-Douglas debate. You've got the Lincoln State College debate. The Cornhuskers and the Lions, you've already heard, not reluctant to say they deserve to be number 1. Osborne and Paterno have not lobbied, but today's losing coach, Bill McCartney, does have an opinion.
If one team is decisive, then I think that team deserves that distinction, and they were clearly decisive, and so I give them the distinction. I have a vote, and I'm going to vote in Nebraska number 1.
I'd be pleased to know what Lee's talking about right now, because he's going to have a lot to do with how those votes come out. So you poke him in the ribs and see what he says.
Whatever Osborne says, I do. There's the poke in the ribs. Who's the number 1 team now? Penn State hands to Ohio State. Its worst loss in 48 years. Nebraska convincing here.
Well, first of all, I think the coaches will keep Penn State #1 because they're impressed with that win. I think the Associated Press writers will pick Nebraska #1. I think they'll have a split poll. If I were picking, I'd pick Penn State #1, Nebraska #2, and Miami #3.
Oh, I'm not going to dinner with you tonight. I'll tell you this right now. I think the polls are bogus. That we're going to determine with a pin who's #1 when you've got two great teams like Nebraska and Penn State out there. I'm going to go with Nebraska #1 because they've got that power that I cannot deny that I saw today. Their speed is awesome. They've got a great defense. And no discredit to Penn State. Penn State's offense is unbelievable. But I'll go with the Cornhuskers #1.
I agree with Lee. It's going to be a split poll. I think the AP will be Nebraska, Penn State in the coaches' poll.
What do you think?
I think it's a shame that we have a system where it's not a friendly debate about who's #1, and then we'll find out in the playoff system, but a debate that's really going to deny perhaps one of these very deserving teams a national championship. It would be a crime for both teams to go undefeated and not get a share, and we're going to have the debate to January 2nd because these teams don't face another ranked opponent between them in the regular season. 31-7 is the score at halftime of our game. Florida decisively over Georgia. Mike Tirico returns to the studio after this. We'll be back here after the ball game.
This halftime report is presented by GMAC Financial Services, the expressway home.
To Doring twice, 2 for the defense, and the Gators 4 touchdowns and a big lead over Georgia at halftime. Without question, Wisconsin's biggest win was last year in the Rose Bowl. But after today's game at Michigan, Darrell Bevell said today was even bigger than the Rose Bowl. Michigan trying to upend the Badgers after they lost to them last year, but it was a big play. 17-13, Bevell finds Tony Simmons, who's really picked it up a little bit with Lee DeRamus out. 2 scores for Simmons, 3 touchdown passes for Bevell. First win in Michigan Stadium for Wisconsin since 1962 as the Wolverines fall to 3-2 in conference. Arizona State gets some respect back for the Pac-10 against the WAC, beating BYU in Utah by 21. Speaking of Utah, the Utes still undefeated. They're 8-0. Let's not forget about them, matching their best start ever with today's win. Washington won, but Napoleon Kaufman held to 69 yards. Teams are stopping Nappy. They did it today, but the Huskies won by 14. Florida State was dominant. The Seminoles set an ACC record, 22 straight conference wins, handing Duke its first loss by 39. NC State was unbeaten in conference until North Carolina dominated on the ground against a good Wolfpack defense to win by 14. Texas beaten in Lubbock by Zebby Lethbridge, the redshirt freshman quarterback, and the Red Raiders by 24. And Kansas State goes 2-0 field and wins for the first time since 1970. Oklahoma, boy, after 8 games, this is their poorest record since 1965. We're at the half in the SEC. Darren Hambrick, as exciting a play as you'll ever see. His 81-yard INT return as the Gators up 24.
Jerry Van Dyke of Coach and North Carolina's Corey Holliday discuss the rewards of college football.
Corey, I understand you had 45 consecutive games with a catch. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Hey, that takes care of that. No, but seriously, what do you remember most about your college days?
The discipline and organization college football taught me, the skills I can use in the classroom or the workplace.
College football may be hard work, but its true rewards can last a lifetime.
Saluting an American tradition, 125 years of college football.
The GMAC halftime report continues in the SEC today. Peyton Manning, a good game, 3 touchdown passes. Tennessee now back to 500 in the conference. They are in position to run the table. Ole Miss at home scored the first 31, beating LSU. In the Big Ten, Purdue missed a 30-yard field goal with 7 seconds left, their second tie of the year. If UCLA loses this game and they're down 10 in the Rose Bowl, they'll be 0-6 in the Pac-10. That's never happened before. Notre Dame has now won 31 straight over Navy. Louisville plays BC on ESPN on Thursday night. Cards move up to 5-3 with that win. Pittsburgh snaps a 6-game losing streak, getting a victory at home in the Big East over Temple. And TCU beats Rice, so now in the SWC, the top 5 bowl-eligible teams all have 2 losses. In Division I AA, as we continue on the GMAC halftime report, #1 Montana will stay there. They won the big battle in the Big Sky. And what about Arnold Mickens for the Heisman? If McNair's a candidate, Mickens has 2,111 yards already on the season through 9 games. Speaking of Mr. McNair, What a great game he had against Stanford. Alcorn down 45-37, first and goal from the 6. McNair, who had 624 yards of total offense, finds a way to get in the end zone. They convert the two-point conversion. It ends up in a 45-45 tie. Steve responsible for 6 scores on the day. And Grambling, looks like they will get Eddie Robinson win 396. He could get win 400 on ESPN in the Heritage Bowl the last weekend of 1994. What an impressive first half for Danny Werfel. 2 touchdown passes to Chris Doring. Florida leads by 24. The second half is next.
Lombardi, president of the University of Florida. What do America's colleges and universities do with your tax dollars? We maintain the world's finest and most accessible system of higher education. We provide the research and advanced technology that helps American industry stay competitive. Higher education is one of the best investments this country makes for a future we all can share.
31-7 our halftime score, and the amazing thing is, with just over 3.5 minutes to play in the second quarter, Georgia was driving to make it a 3-point game. That's really hard to believe.
Well, the 2 turnovers is really what has exploded this football game into a rout here in the first half, because Georgia was on their way to make it a 17-14 ball game, and the next thing you know, it's 31-7.
So here are the stats in the first half, and you can judge for yourself. Rushing yardage, passing yardage, time of possession. Well, Georgia actually closed the gap considerably. But look at the points off turnovers, and that is the difference. A 59-yard fumble return, and then the 81-yard pass, interception, and return for a touchdown. So Georgia gets the football to open the second half of play, and nothing would please that far sideline anymore, and that would be to get something going and to put a touchdown on the scoreboard, because boy, like lightning, they gave up 14 points by turnovers, and that's the reason they're in this hole right now, down 24. Hines Ward.
You see Eric Zier getting ready to come back on the field, and you look at his passing chart. Really what has happened here is that he's not able to get the ball deep. All his completions except for 2 for 38 yards have been under 15 yards.
Is thrown complete, just out across the 30-yard line. Mike Adamle, let's check in with you.
Well, Ron, you hit it right on the head. Those big turnover swings, one of the reasons Georgia has had, by their standards, such a disappointing season. The first big one, of course, Larry Bowie fumbling the ball after being hit by Ben Hanks, and then Michael Gilmore taking it all the way. It could have been a 17-14 game. Instead, it was much, much different. And then later on, Darren Hambrick with the fumble recovery, the interception rather, of Eric Zier, and watch him down the sidelines. He does not step out of bounds. A great athletic move, and that's the difference about all Ray Goff could say to his team at halftime. Chance to show your character. You can pack it in or stay tough.
Well, it's Terrell Davis that they throw complete to Mike right over the middle. And Mike Adamle, I know that another reason for the cheer down there a moment ago is that the rain has started again.
I'm looking at Eric Zier passing chart the whole time.
Now the rain has started to fall, and now we've got some serious lightning also off in the distance here in the Gainesville area.
Were you warning Mike Adamle to take his antennas down?
You know, they did have a problem at Tuscaloosa, the Ole Miss ball game. Zier rolls the pocket, and he just throws that one away. Bryce Hunter is the man that he was closest to, but he throws it away, and it'll be second down and 10.
Excellent game plan by Bobby Pruitt, the defensive coordinator, to make Eric Zier work the field and make him make some mistakes. They're not going to give him the easy touchdown. 21 of 32, 164 yards, and interception.
Bobby
Pruitt there in the middle. Sorry. Graduate of Marshall University, played for the Thundering Herd in college.
Juan Daniels. And he'll stay in bounds out to the 44, but it's Mark Campbell holding on to him.
That's why I like these defensive linemen, because they run. You see Mark Campbell there, who's 6'3" and 287 pounds, but was able to run down that screen. All their defensive linemen can run.
You know, Campbell's a really interesting story. Well, he's from Jamaica. Was a soccer player, Mike. He only played his senior year of high school football.
And they say his whole future, that football is ahead of him, that he just gets better and better every game.
They're going to go on top. Got a man, and it's Bryce Hunter. Foot race at the 10. It'll be 1st and goal, Bulldogs.
Ron, there was not very much room to throw that ball in there against Darren Hambrick and Bryce Hunter. I mean, you got to put this ball exactly. It's a go switch route. The inside receiver on a post, the outside receiver on a takeoff. Bryce Hunter versus a linebacker, and that ball was right on the money with some zip to it.
49 yards, and that's a wet football in the middle of a new rainstorm that is beginning here at Gainesville. So Zaire continues to impress with his mechanics.
How do Gators like the rain? I mean, the real Gators.
Oh, they love it.
Do they?
I'm not sure Bulldogs do.
Where's that
guy? Georgia calls a timeout. We'll take it with them. 13-16 left in the third. ESPN's presentation of Saturday Night CFA is brought to you by American Honda, who's been making quality automobiles in America for the past 11 years. And by Wrangler, the most comfortable jeans known to man. To Florida, it was 4th and 1. To history, 4th and dumb. You see, Georgia took over. Quarterback Ray Goff rallied the Dogs with 28 unanswered points in the second half. That was 1976. Ray Goff on the sideline. 14 points by way of turnover in the last 3.5 minutes of the first half. That's the reason his club is down by 24 rather than about 3. Because they were doing then what they're doing right now, and it's driving it right down the field. Pass for the corner, complete at the 1-yard line. Hassan Graham is shoved out by Ben Hanks.
An excellent block by David Weeks, number 55, on Kevin Carter. Actually pulled him down so that he took him out of the lane of Eric Zaire's quick out pattern. Not sure he didn't pull him down. Let's watch David Weeks, number 55, against Kevin Carter. Yep, pull down there. Got him right out of the lane of fire.
2nd and goal. Terrell Davis, he's going to lose a couple. Mark Campbell, the first man to get there. Also Kevin Carter.
And Ron, when you don't have a lot of success running the ball, it gets tougher down here inside the 5 because your linemen used to pass protecting the whole ball game. Here's Kevin Carter. You just see he just whipped David Weeks getting up the field from the start. But it becomes tougher to run it down inside the 10.
Third down following the loss of a couple. Quarterback draw, and Zaire will score.
Right out of the Denver Bronco John Elway playbook. He's done that for so many years at Mile High Stadium. Eric Zaire right out of the book. And when you remove linebackers and you go to 4-man front and you take the linebackers in the pass, that quarterback trap is there.
Just before halftime, if he had done that rather than throw that interception, it'd be 7 less down, but he was trying to go for the touchdown.
Right.
Extra point is good as Zaire scores. It's 31-14.
Thursday at 8, running back Anthony Shellman faces the BC defense when Louisville takes on Boston College, only on ESPN.
Eric Zier with the quarterback keeper. Draw, actually. And his offensive line gave him some good help on that series as they get their 14th point. So they're down by 17. And Mike Godfrey with the kickoff coming here. What do you put on the playbook?
I think what Florida would like is a good sustained drive. Run and pass, good mix, and burn some clock off here.
Let's go to Mike Adamle. Mike?
Well, Ron, you touched on it earlier in the game. Here it is close up. Out of the shotgun formation, one of Georgia's interesting recalls. Watch the guard and tackle touch hands. The guard is responsible for getting the tackle off at the snap of the ball. When the guard lets go, the tackle moves in the action. Just one way to alleviate and allow Eric Zier to score.
I'm going to tell you, the noise, particularly in the closed end of the stadium down to our left, they really need that because they can't hear it all.
And what made that play, Ron? No linebackers. And that's what opened that up. But the set opened it up because middle linebacker moved out on the running back.
Reason for the reaction, more lightning. 8 plays, 73 yards, 237.
Working now.
The length of the drive? Yeah, I think it is, Michael. Working well. Zier 5 of 6, 72 yards.
Take 2, hit the right, and take cover.
Come with a reverse. Jack Jackson spun off one tackler, and then Corey Johnson and Randall Godfrey are there to make the stop, and we get a flag down on the near sideline. Holding against Florida. So Doring gets the play, and he'll bring it in. Penalty's going to push this back to the 33-yard line. It'll be a second down. The line to make is just out across the 46. Dumps it off to Bilkey, and the big fullback gets hit after a gain of 4. That's Godfrey who got out there to make the tackle on him.
It was a good tackle by Randall Godfrey. Chris Doring had a good first half. We're going to look at his pass tree. The routes that he was able to run. An in route that gained 15 yards. A post pattern that he had 1 catch for, but the 2 that caused touchdowns were when he was against the safety. He ran the corner route 2 times, once to the left and once to the right for 2 touchdowns.
In the flat, and that pass is incomplete. So it's going to be 4th down. And Florida will have to give the ball back to Georgia.
You know, Mike Adamle talked about when you go in at halftime, what Ray Goff might have talked about to his football team. And, of course, Steve Spurrier, I'm sure, reminded his ball club that Derek Zier could get him back in it right away. But Ray Goff must have challenged his football team just to play the second half. Let's see what can happen. And with 10:26 on the clock, they're going to get the football back down 31-14. But you constantly, both coaches challenging their team the second half. When you're down so far, you just got to remain, you got to play.
Shane Edge waits for the snap at the 21. And this is McCraney, who signals for the fair catch and makes it on the run. 40 yards in the kick. Godfrey, the big all-conference linebacker from last year for the Georgia Bulldogs, and has got another extremely good year going. Mike, as Zier comes on the field, he has 2 carries for 14 yards, and we're told that is the leading Georgia rusher in this football game with that 2 carries for 14.
Well, he leads them in everything. And Randall Godfrey on the sideline was just saying this one ain't over yet. Shouting encouragement to his teammates.
You know, somebody ran in. He wanted it out. Carter with the pressure, but I think Hassan Graham, he was looking for him to run his route to the sideline.
Kevin Carter really is getting a good break on the snap. Number 57 is just running around. Adam Meadows. Meadows is not really getting enough depth, and Kevin Carter's too fast for him around the corner.
And Mike, you remember we mentioned in the lineups tonight, Meadows has been bothered by an ankle that just won't get well because they continue to have to use him. That makes him a half step slower as well.
You're right, and we should mention that because he had problems in practice. So when you're playing like that, sometimes you got to compensate.
Gets it away, incomplete, and now there's a flag, and it's thrown back deep.
Well, when you throw this many times, you figure you're going to catch a holding eventually. Been the biggest change I would think that's helped offensive football. The hash marks has helped, but allowing the linemen to get their hands on the defensive linemen was a big change several years ago that helped the offenses.
So the holding and the penalty will push it back to the 14-yard line. And the rain starts to come down even harder here at Ben Hill Griffith Stadium.
And Ron, one of the problems is when you have an excellent pass rusher like Ellis Johnson and Kevin Carter, sometimes we talked about maybe an injured Adam Meadows, but sometimes you just try to reach out there and grab them. But they're double on Ellis Johnson most of the time.
They get it to Terrell Davis over the middle. Has 5, has 10, and he's up to the 27-yard line. A handbrake defensively.
There's a lot of ways to control defensive linemen. Screens, draws, traps. But what defensive linemen do not like is just what you're going to see happen to Ellis Johnson. When they chop you, when they get into your legs. Ellis Johnson was chopped right there by Troy Starks. And when they get to those legs, those defensive linemen slow down a little bit.
Third down. And needed out across the 38. 31-14, Gators lead. Dogs have already scored here in the second half, looking for 7 more. Pass over the middle. It is tipped and going to be intercepted. And at the 20-yard line, the stop is made on James Bates.
Keep talking about the game plan of Florida to keep the ball in front of the defensive backs. Bryce Hunter just couldn't hold on. Eric Zier over the middle. The ball's high. Bryce Hunter off his fingertips. James Bates was brought into the game in a passing situation to play the linebacker spot with the interception.
And, of course, his dad, who now is with Atlanta, is the former defensive coordinator of this Florida football team.
He had a lot to do with Ron Zook coming down here, and then Ron Zook took over for him as a defensive coordinator. But so he's sitting in the hotel pretty happy with his son.
This is Taylor, little zone play. Nothing to the left, so he brought it back to the right, and he has almost 10 yards in the play.
Turnovers have just really destroyed Georgia tonight. Not only turning the ball over, but field position's just been changed by those turnovers.
25 of 38, 237 yards, 2 interceptions, and then when you throw in one of those interceptions, went 81 yards for a touchdown. There was a pass completion, then a fumble by Bowie. That was a 59-yard fumble return for a touchdown. The ankles, and that's Marcus Williams.
Steve Spurrier wearing the headset tonight. We've seen games where he didn't wear it. Now he's wearing it tonight. Was talking with John Reeves up in the press box.
Mike, want to say something. You see how hard it's raining right here. As soon as this play is over, we'll get you a shot of something else to make a point of what has had to happen tonight because of the inclement conditions. Pitch to Taylor, going to be hit by Godfrey, and he'll be stopped, and here comes a late flag in. because of the really wet conditions, and we just want to point out, because the kids and the marching bands work extremely hard because of the conditions on this field. Neither the Georgia band or the Florida band both said that they would not march tonight because it just simply make it a quagmire. And so both sat in the stands and played at halftime, and they're sitting here in the rain. And I just say, you know, hats off to those kids that they're a part of this grand party as well.
Offense, first down.
The Florida band right there, and of course the Georgia kids are down at the other end. But they agreed courteously and said, nope, okay, we won't march because it would just make conditions on the field really impossible. So with the penalty, it is first down, back out just shy of the 20. Werfel rolls the pocket and wisely just throws this one away.
Steve Spurrier likes what he sees there of Danny Werfel because he had no place to throw that football. He's not a scrambling quarterback that's going to run for yardage. Throw it away and let's get to the next down, second down.
In almost like particularly deep, Jack Jackson it was like a single man pattern down there. And by the time it got strung out all the way to the sideline, there was just nothing there. Eric Zier standing in the rain.
You just figured Jack Jackson's going to catch a touchdown pass at any moment. He's the guy they like to go to.
Werfel gets it away and incomplete. The closest man to it was Anthony, Riddell Anthony. Well, Sunday night on the National Football League, it is the Raiders and the Browns, 8 o'clock as the NFL returns to ESPN. That's next Sunday, November the 6th. Tim Brown and the LA Raiders taking on Joe Montana and the Kansas City Chiefs. So next Sunday, 8 o'clock, right here on ESPN.
Freddie Godelli back to work with the NFL. Mike Patrick and Joe Theismann. On that last play, Steve Spurrier was really complaining because he felt the linebackers were grabbing the running backs and tackling them at the line of scrimmage.
7:31 left in this third quarter.
They did it again. They got caught this time.
Werfel's pass is complete inside the 10-yard line, and it's Anthony, Riddell Anthony.
Ron, they caught him this time. It's exactly what Steve Spurrier was arguing about the play before. Elijah Williams was trying to sneak through against the linebacker, and they just tackled him.
I told you in the play before they didn't have any folks in the pattern, and I think everybody
there's a reason for that. They got ambushed.
First down, and they'll give it to him at the 9-yard line.
It's exactly what happened, Ron. They caught the linebackers tackling Elijah Williams.
Draw play. Williams inside the 5, and he's in the vicinity of the 3. Williams and Greg Bright combined to make the tackle on him. See big Reggie Green up there to help his running back off the ground. (31-14). Gators on top as we are about to go under 6.5 minutes left, third quarter, and trying to make it a 38-14 ball game. Up the middle. Werfel gets it away quickly. Going to be intercepted. Edwards, and he'll be stopped at the 1-yard line.
Threw that ball right to Robert Edwards. Checked off to a sprint out to the left. Never was able to see Robert Edwards, number 47.
Greg Bright needs to be given credit on the play because he was the one that was really coming after Danny Werfel. So we'll take a break. 31-14, the Bulldogs get the football back. Well, we're back live in Gainesville, Florida. Florida Field, Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. And an interception just now kept the Gators from picking up their 38th point as they were driving. Edwards with the interception. Well, Davis takes it from maybe one, just trying to get out of his own end zone when he's in his three-point stance.
If you're Florida on defense, you think safety down here. You think Kevin Carter off the corner, Ellis Johnson up inside, Campbell off the corner trying to get to Eric Zier, but he's a tough quarterback to get to.
Mike, as we mentioned, when this happens either each week or whenever it does it, the thing you have to be careful of is you can't throw and take a chance of a holding penalty because it's a safety.
Right.
Ball is tipped and almost picked off. Mike Tirico, what do you have for us?
Well, Ron, they're playing in the WAC. We'll see San Diego State BYU in 12 days on ESPN. Tonight hosting Hawaii, John Hao to Clint Kobayama. And the team that beat Oregon by 20 is now tied with San Diego State.
So tie ball game at 7. Our situation 31-14. We have 5:31 left in the third quarter. Third down, Georgia. Line to make their own 11-yard line. Out of the middle, has it complete. That's a good second effort by Maurice Harold, and that will allow Georgia to hold on to the football.
Backup tight end, and the tight end for Auburn when they came in here really had a big day against this Florida defense, but they were able to sneak Maurice Harrell out to pick up the first down. 6'3", 245-pound tight end. See him right over the middle, catches the pass for the first down.
Gilmore, one of the first men to come up and make the hit. In case you missed the first half, Michael Gilmore had a 59-yard fumble return for a touchdown. So it's been a big night for the senior from Chipley, Florida. Zier under pressure. He is going to be sacked back at the 2-yard line by Ellis Johnson. First time that they've gotten to him. And Georgia has a player, an offensive lineman, who is injured at the team.
Ron, this was a line twist, and they really had a good call defensively on. Watch Ellis Johnson work now the outside. All the protection breaks down. Ellis Johnson just grabs a hold of Eric Zier and throws him down. And Ron, I really believe he's, like I said it so many times over the telecast, you're looking at one of the better defensive linemen in the country.
He's really played well in the games that we've had him on. He had a great game against Tennessee.
Coaches say his motor's always running, never takes a play off, plays hard the entire ball game.
Steve Roberts, a sophomore out of Dalton, Georgia, is the player who is injured.
That's only the 4th quarterback sack of 379 pass attempts. Give most of the credit to Eric Zier for that.
Pass over the middle. It was picked off. Bates. Touchdown, Florida.
Coach Bates in Atlanta for the Falcons is saying that's just what I taught him when he was a kid. Out in the backyard, how to drop, how to intercept that football and take it in the end zone. A proud father in Atlanta tonight.
Tell you what, he just picked off a guy that's very difficult to intercept.
Very difficult to intercept Eric Zier, but that ball was right there.
Most of the passes that he has had intercepted are balls that have either gone off receivers or have been tipped. Extra point is good, and we're going to hold it right here. 21 points off turnovers.
Get them backed up like you have Georgia backed up. You can see Jim Bates, the linebacker, the right of your screen. A little bit of a roll. He just never really, I believe, ever seen Jim Bates, number 44, trying to get the ball to Terrell Davis, number 33, but a touchdown for Florida. And turnovers tonight have just been big for this Florida defense.
Well, there it is right there. And in fact, what will be heard on the practice field on Monday, if this maintains this way, is that the defense outscored the offense in this football game.
And that doesn't happen down here very many times.
No, it doesn't.
Not sure Steve Spurrier likes that. Of course, the end result is he's going to like that, but he likes his offense to control these games.
Guy next to us likes it a great deal. The defensive coordinator, Bob, is kind of happy over there.
Yeah, he can get ready to light up a cigar here before long.
Ward is the deep man. Ball, the air is so heavy tonight. Kicks just haven't gone very far. Hines Ward gets off one tackler, and he'll take it out to the 30-yard line. It's 20 yards on the return. And Mike, this is what it looks like in the East. Huge game as far as Florida's concerned today. Not only to be close to pulling this one off right here, but South Carolina losing to Tennessee.
That was a big win for Tennessee, of course. Keeps them alive for a bowl game, but also takes South Carolina down another notch. 2 games behind Florida. And of course, South Carolina's going to play Florida here in a couple weeks. So that was a big win. You're right, by Tennessee. Delay a game. Things go bad, they go bad.
Yeah, it's just, sometimes the magic works and sometimes it doesn't.
Delay of game offense.
You take away the turnovers. I know you can't, and all that stuff, but Ray Goff's team, the turnovers have just completely taken them out of this football game. They had a good plan coming in offensively. The turnovers hurt them.
Pressure on Zaire, going to be sacked. Second time tonight. And now here comes a late flag in.
It's Cameron Davis, number 56. And now again, Florida keeps rotating defensive linemen, keeping fresh defensive players in here. Both backups in here now. Cameron Davis, number 56, just beating the block again of Adam Meadows, number 71.
A 5-yard face mask penalty against the defense. 5 yards from the previous spot and first down.
Well, as they mark off the penalty, the lower right-hand side of your screen, these are the scores in the SEC today.
That's the game you were talking about, Tennessee, South Carolina. Vanderbilt just squeezing by.
Ole Miss winning over LSU.
In between raindrops, Mississippi State. Handily.
I don't know how any of this equipment is still working. About to go under 4 minutes left in the third quarter, and now it is really raining hard again. Short drop, and Hassan Graham gets out of bounds. Let's see, at the 37-yard line.
Most of Eric Zaire's completions have been 15 yards and in, because again the strategy by Bob Pruitt and Ron Zook tonight, the defensive coaches, keep everything in front of the defensive backs. At 256 yards passing, has not been able to get the big throw.
Zaire intercepted by Florida, this time Dexter Daniels.
Dexter Daniels, you talked about it the other day at practice, looked like he was down a little bit because it was going to be a game with a lot of passing. He's from Valdosta, Georgia. Didn't think he was going to play much tonight because it wasn't going to be a running football game. And number 48, Dexter Daniels, played for Nick Hyder there at Valdosta with the interception.
Some of the players, he looked a little down about that. Some of the players said, you know, he wants so badly to play every snap because it is against his home state, and so he comes up big in a situation here with the interception. Elijah Williams at the 5, first and goal, Florida. Corey Johnson saved a touchdown.
Ron, his Georgia defense is just not good enough to put him in that position where you're going to give him turnovers inside the 50-yard line. They're just not strong enough to hold up.
David Swain, the center for the Gators, needs to receive some credit on that play right there. Nice block.
You don't know, I don't want to make excuses for Eric Zier, but you don't know how this rain and the wet field is affecting his passing tonight. Now, I know he did very well in Jacksonville last year in a rainstorm, but you never know about a quarterback sometimes with a wet ball.
Elijah Williams going to be hit at the 2-yard line. Derek Smith will take him down. But what happens, and you know, you might mention that again, Mike, is that there are managers on both sides of the field. You bring your own footballs, and they are charged with a situation of keeping those footballs dry.
They bring maybe 36 footballs here and keep them in a bag and keep shuttling them into the officials, keeping the balls dry and keeping the heater in with them too. You want a warm football when you get a hold of it.
Well, Marcus Williams thought he saw something.
Dead ball foul, offsides, defense.
Penalty stepped off the ball just outside the 1-yard line. Elijah Williams at the 1. He's not going to get in. That'll make it 3rd down.
Ron, here's what we're talking about. The ball guy over here on the side. He's flipped the ball to the official a little too quick for our guys there. Got rid of it too soon. Maybe we can show you. He's got a towel over there. He's the most valuable guy here on the right side, the 3-yard line. Now there's the wet ball. It's got to go out to the towel. Now let's see if we can follow that. There it is. Flip. There's my guy right there. He's got about 3 with him there in a towel. He's scuffing them up better than Gaylord Perry did.
Got to be able to grip that thing. 3rd down and goal. That time even the center came up and said this one's wet, so the official tried it off. Elijah Williams gets a good lead block. Can he turn the corner? No. Yes, touchdown Florida.
Ron, he may have scored that touchdown, but I'll tell you, there's a great effort by Philip Benton, number 48 of Georgia. And when you look back at this film, these coaches are going to see one great effort by a linebacker there, taking on a block and then chasing down Elijah Williams, but he still made in the end zone. But what an excellent play.
So the Florida Gators now extend their lead after still another turnover. We're going to hold it right here. And Mike, what about next Saturday? We got a lot of possibilities, a lot of ifs. We don't know exactly where any of us are going to be. Let's first of all with the Big Ten crew. It's going to be either Penn State at Indiana, Michigan at Purdue, or Wisconsin at Ohio State. Then prime time, 7:30 Eastern time next week. Will either be Alabama at LSU in Baton Rouge or Kansas at Nebraska. And we do know for sure next Saturday, Wyoming at Colorado State. That game will come up at 10:30 Eastern time, a triple header right here next week on ESPN.
A lot of good games, but Ron, I want to go back one more time to the fact of what I think Georgia's problem is. And it's the hand they're dealt. So they have that hand, and they've decided that they have a hard time running the football. But when you can't run the football, like, for instance, right now, Florida has 101 yards rushing. That's not a lot of yards rushing, but you keep them honest by using by those 101 yards rushing. Georgia has 13. You don't move the clock. You don't help your defense, and all the weight is on the quarterback. So he has to play almost perfect for you.
Now just short of the 30-yard line. And let's check in once again with Mike Tirico. Michael?
Ron, Washington State was down 8 in Berkeley against Cal, but Chad Davis, the quarterback on a keeper, nearly falls, keeps his balance, makes it a 2-point game. They go for 2. Out of the backfield, Kevin Hicks, the ball, barely crosses the plane. Then Cal turns it over. State kicks a field goal, and they're up 3.
That barely was about barely, too.
That's quite a comeback by Washington State. Terrell Davis. This is a good second and third effort by him as he's going to take it out across the 40-yard line. Gilmore holding on to him. And let's check in with Mike Adamle.
Well, Ron and Mike, when Jacksonville begins their inaugural NFL season next year, this man will be their head coach, Tom Coughlin. Tom, I know you've been busy with a lot of scouting. First of all, your thoughts on Eric Zier. I know tonight with the rain and everything's not a good indication of his skills.
Difficult night, but I thought Eric did some things tonight that I hadn't seen him do. Threw the deep ball well there in the start of the third quarter. He's got a strong arm. He runs the whole show at the line of scrimmage. It's impressive. He's thrown some interceptions in the intermediate level where he may not have picked up the underneath coverage, and that's hurt his football team. And as usual, it's turnovers.
Is his height a problem, as some NFL scouts have mentioned, possibly?
Well, it will be, but it's only one factor, and that'll have to be determined. I call the evaluation of players, Mike, a process. In other words, you have to go through a full process. All-star games, the whole thing.
His tenacity, obviously, not in question.
No question about it. A great competitor.
Have you kept in tabs with your old team, Boston College?
Absolutely. Never more excited than when they beat Notre Dame this year.
Tom, great to see you. Good luck with first exhibition next August?
July 29th.
July 29th.
Yeah, right.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Seeing you. Thanks for joining us.
Mike, thanks so much. Tom Coughlin, I'm glad that he keeps up with BC. He'll get an opportunity on Thursday night to see his former football team on our air up in Louisville. And that'll be our Thursday evening game.
He's had a great year coaching. He's undefeated.
That's right. But boy, he's got a big task as far as getting together with his scouts and finding the talent and the pieces to the puzzle, so to speak. Right? Zier's pass over the middle, complete. That's going to be about 2 yards short of the first down. Harrell again was the man that he chose to throw the ball to, but they needed the 48-yard line. So that's the end of the third quarter with our score. The Gators 45-14. Well, we're back for the start of the fourth quarter, and Georgia will go for it. 4th down and 2. Terrell Davis, boy, he is close.
I don't think he got it, Ron.
I don't think he did either. The Florida players are applauding.
Well, that spot's at, of course, they may change it now. I see them moved it up a little bit.
Well, it was Dexter Daniels who came up to make the tackle. Well, top 25 in action today. You'll get a chance to take a look at them. Well, Nebraska not only wins big, what a really dominating first half.
Arkansas's team, Danny Ford, gave Auburn a run for a while. There's a big one. SMU tying Texas A&M.
Gators hold them here. And look at Oregon. Boy, the Ducks.
Their kind of weather here tonight.
I'm telling you, they'd be having a blast.
They're having a blast wherever they're at. With that win over Arizona. Didn't pick up the first down, Ron, and I know Ray Goff's got to be really frustrated right now because had a tough night here with his ball club.
Also, Elijah Williams goes out, and Fred Taylor will check in at tailback, and he'll get the handoff to see it quite a bit here in this fourth quarter.
We talked to Steve Sperry the other day. We may see Eric Kresser sometime tonight, the third-team quarterback. He was going to try to get him in the ball game somewhere along the line. He said he really has the strongest arm of all his quarterbacks. Boy, Kansas State over Oklahoma. North Carolina wins the rivalry game.
Off that tackle, he's going to pick up 5 extra yards because of it, and as a result, that's a first down for Florida.
Fresh running backs. Fred Taylor replacing Elijah Williams. Just keep those freshmen coming at you.
About to go under 14 minutes left in our football game. 45-14. University of Florida. Take the reverse, but they took it straight ahead with the run, and Marshall finally puts an end to that as Taylor continues to be the workhorse here, just as we thought he would be.
Ron, it's interesting when you and I were both on the field yesterday when Ray Goff came here, had a nice conversation with him. What a fine young man. I mean, he is a solid person that loves this university and was an outstanding quarterback for Vince Dooley.
You know, another thing that was interesting is just as they arrived at the stadium, and so Taylor will take it for a couple this time. Also, you get to be friends with your competitors around the conference, and Steve Spurrier's wife was here waiting at the tunnel to see if Coach Goff's wife had come along on the trip, because she wanted to visit with her and possibly spend some time while the husbands are coaching. But I think Ms. Goff stayed up in Athens rather than come down here today.
There's no worse feeling being on that sideline getting beat like this. You know, you just try to figure out what you can do. You go back, try to change some things. They played 8 straight weeks. They have not had a break, not had an open date in their season.
Goes to the 24. Mike Tirico.
Ron, remember Mr. Barely, Kevin Hicks, who barely got it across the goal line in this Washington State game? Well, for some reason, the official says he's not down when he fumbles. One knee and 2 cheeks were the same. In any case, Cal has it in position. They're at the 29, driving down 3 late in the game.
Mike, you might not be invited to that official's banquet either. End of the year.
The reason that play didn't work, there were no tuba or trombone players in the field. Pass for the end zone, incomplete. Well, Hilliard is the guy that they wanted. So it's second down. Here's that zone play again. And he'll be stopped at the 20-yard line. Muschamp in the secondary.
Well, Muschamp really came up and filled on that play on the run very well. He's had a pretty good evening. The safety position. Senior, 6 foot, 190 pounds, free safety. You're going to see number 30 come up. Get a high tackle. Looking for Jack Jackson, but he's going to throw it on the short route, and we'll have it to Sean Nunn. And the tight end, I believe, is going to have the first down around the 12-yard line. Really a nice defensive call by Marion Campbell, because he was in pretty good position. They tried to run a takeoff with John Jackson, and out and up. They had it defended very well, but there's no rush on Danny Werfel. So now he's able to find Sean Nunn, number 80, with no pass rush at all, just too much time to give Danny Werfel. 19 out of 34, 212 yards. 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions on his evening. Taylor, a
again, breaks a tackle. And how many times have we seen that tonight? That old expression, Mike, if you hit him and he gives you the dead leg, and then all of a sudden he explodes out of it. He picks up 2 more.
It still comes down to fundamentals, blocking and tackling. And a guy like Fred Taylor and Elijah Williams, you got to tackle. You got to wrap up and take them down. So Fred, Del Glade, Florida.
6'1", 214, and as we mentioned, he is a freshman as well as Elijah Williams, a freshman. And there's another young fellow by the name of Dwayne Mobley behind him, who's a sophomore, who's a pretty good ball player. Looks like that the clock got him here.
Dead ball foul, false start on the offense.
False start rather than the clock. Speaking of the clock, the game clock now shows 10:14 remaining to be played. And finally, these fans are probably as hardy as any place you come to have set out in this weather. Finally, a few are heading home. There are a few more that are staying to see if Florida scores on this drive right here.
Waited a long time for that game to come to Gainesville.
Jack Jackson at the 5, and he will be down to the 4.
The key to this play is they had to time up the motion to Jack Jackson so that he was right close to the quarterback. You're going to see him come back in motion, and when that ball snapped, it's almost perfect timing. You lose Jack Jackson, you lose the football, and he picked up good yardage.
3rd down for the Gators. They need a yard for the 1st down.
You have to feel for our camera people out there tonight, Ron. They've done an excellent job. Good pictures for us. They're all wet, but they've given us good pictures.
That expression has been used about them before. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. ESPN's presentation of Saturday Night CFN is brought to you by Chrysler Plymouth and your local Chrysler Plymouth dealers. And by Visa. It's everywhere you want to be. Well, 1993, remember this one in the deluge? Zaire to German wasn't the game winner. Florida had called a timeout. Then a pass interference, and then on a 65th pass of the game, that tells the story. Florida wins in a squeaker last year. And tonight, Eric Zaire, here are his numbers. 45 attempts, 27 completions, 255 with 4 interceptions. 3rd down on the yard for the Florida Gators. Taylor, pressure in the backfield, gets by that defensive player, and he scores. Derek Smith just let him get right by him.
Had a shot at him, but he was falling down and couldn't wrap him up.
Jed Davis, who's a senior from just down the road in Ocala, tries to score the Gators' 52nd point. He got it. So we'll take a break. Gators 52-14, 9:12 left to play.
Next Saturday at 10:30, Colorado State puts their bowl hopes on the line when they take on Wyoming, only on ESPN.
You want to?
38-point ball game as the Gators score again, and bless you, that happens in this rainy weather. Dry socks for you after the game, huh?
Yeah. Good stiff tee.
Hines Ward is back deep. And he'll gather it on the run at the 5.
Florida's record versus Georgia before Steve Spurrier came here, 2-10. He's 4-0 coming into tonight.
Mike, a late flag came in.
That illegal block in the back, 10 yards on the return team.
We're going to see the backup quarterback, Mike Bobo.
Redshirt freshman out of Thomasville, Georgia. We mentioned to you earlier. 6'3", 202 pounds. And the numbers on him, 4 of 11, 119 yards, no interceptions, no touchdowns. Offsides in play, it would appear. Terrell Davis gets the handoff. Bill Montgomery, 13 rather than 33, Terrell Davis.
A dead ball foul, offsides defense.
Mike Tirico, let's check in with you quickly.
Ron, Cal down to its 4th string quarterback had a couple of penalties, forcing the game-tying field goal from 57 yards out. It had the distance, but just wide. So Washington State wins. They are now tied with Arizona, USC, and Oregon, 4-1 atop the Pac-10.
Boy, a lot of things could happen out there in the Pac-10. Mike, thanks very much. This running play just not going to go very far as Montgomery is hit at the line of scrimmage and racked up by Lawrence Wright.
Ron, there's a frustrated young quarterback there tonight, but he's going to have many, many brighter days. I think he's an excellent competitor. He studies the game, quick release, team player. I mean, all the positives you'd want in a quarterback. Not hanging his head in the back of the bench right now. He's staying right in there with this young quarterback.
Doesn't seem to be his nature, Mike, which has to be an extreme positive for him going into the pros. Bobo going to be sacked back at the 9-yard line. Mark Campbell and Kevin Carter. Mike Adamle, what do you have for us?
Well, you know, Mike and Ron, it's got to be extremely difficult to read day after day that your job may be in jeopardy and answer the criticisms of all those radio talk shows that Ray Goff has had to do. But he's done just that, and he's done it with a lot of class. I don't know if any coach in America could have done it any better. Nobody knows what has transpired behind closed doors between Ray and athletic director Vince Dooley. And until that kind of conversation becomes public, it's still just speculation. No doubt tonight's loss will leave a sour note in a lot of Georgia boosters. But the man truly is a class act, and I really feel for him.
Bobo takes it out to the 24-yard line.
Tough profession, but Ray Goff, I agree with what Mike Adams said, is he is a class person. And I know no one hurts more than he does. It's the way it is. When you take a program, and you're responsible for the program, nobody hurts more than the head coach.
Riddell Anthony is back deep, and Langley set to punt. They need to get one more special teamer on the field. Pressure from the outside, and they almost blocked that thing. So there's a timeout on the field, and we'll take it with it. We are back. 6:39 remaining in our football game, and the Florida Gators having their own way, 52-14.
Terry Dean in a quarterback, Ron. 19 touchdown passes this season.
There's Riddell Anthony in motion and the running play. You got Baker, Tyrone Baker, who has checked into the lineup now, number 8.
Baker on the carry.
Terry Dean has checked into the ball game at quarterback, and of course he had been the starter at the beginning of this year, and then ran into some problems in the Auburn game, was substituted for, and Werfel got the start here tonight.
Well, he just needs to bounce back. He's got the backup role now. He got the hook, Sparky Anderson hook, and now he's just got to wait till he gets his turn again.
Pass to the far sideline. Going to be enough for the first down to Riddell Anthony.
And Ron, when you look at this game statistically tonight, and we're going to show you the scoreboard here with the numbers, and you see Florida with 358 yards total offense and 292 for Georgia, but that column on the right, the 31 rushing for Georgia, 149 rushing for Florida, to me is the difference, because when you get balance, you got a chance to make some things happen. When you become one-dimensional, it's tough.
Again, he'll have a game of a couple. And Washington State again, Mike, that's awfully big at a come from behind effort. The number 22 ranked team in the nation. It really sends things in quite a tassel out there, doesn't it?
Southern Miss with a win.
San Diego State now by 7.
We're going to have them on a Thursday night here against BYU in a couple weeks.
Zings the pass and incomplete at the 38. Ike Hilliard couldn't hold on.
Ron, here's a question a lot of people in America are asking right now. Why are you throwing the football? And I think there's and Steve Spurrier, in defense of Steve Spurrier, you practice and you want to throw, and you got Terry Dean in, and you're working on your offense. But on the other side, you got a team that's down 52-14. They're not going to come back. I mean, there's no way. So it really becomes a complex thing. Do you run the ball and run the clock out, or do you run your offense and let your guys play?
This one is complete. He zipped that one to Riddell Anthony, and that'll be enough for the Florida first down at the 38. I think my recommendation to save several thousand more cases of pneumonia, go ahead and run the clock out.
All the doctors around here would agree with you.
Hilliard still on his feet, and they went back and got him a second time. It's Muschamp who will make the tackle.
Ron, I want to just go back on that a step further. Sometimes it can hurt you in the polls too, when people are voting and you know, they don't like the fact that you're trying to score some points late in the ball game, and other teams decide not to do this, run the football. But I'll just tell you, the opposing side of it, and I've been on the opposing side of it a lot of times, is you figure your time's going to come. You're going to get your shot one day to repay a team or teams that try to score points against you. Now, I'm not taking a side on this, because I understand why he's doing it. He's doing it because he feels his players practice. They deserve a chance to play. They deserve a chance not to run the football. I understand that, but I also understand the other side of it too.
Yep. Dwayne Mobley is the ball carrier just now, Mike, and he's a sophomore out of Brooksville. Getting an opportunity to see him. About to go under 3 minutes left in this one. 52-14. Baker again. Ooh, you could hear that hit. May have the first down.
Randall Godfrey's not giving up. 52 points, the most ever versus the Dogs. Randall Godfrey, the fine linebacker, just hanging in there and making plays.
That one is dropped. Riddell Anthony trying to concentrate on running before he made the reception. Stops the clock at 2:31. next Thursday night for sure. We know we're going to be in Louisville, Kentucky for Boston College at Louisville. But on Saturday for the early game and the primetime game, we still don't know yet. Dean, he's got to be hit and sacked. Dropped at the 30-yard line, and that's Derek Smith, who's done a good job in relief tonight.
A good sack right there by Derek Smith, number 57.
Get ready for the run! Get ready for the right look!
Well, the voters will have a big decision tomorrow morning or tonight whenever they make those choices around the country for who's number one. I don't think you can throw dirt on the Florida teams. We talked about that. It's not over for them yet. All three of them, Florida State, Florida, and Miami. Penn State seems to me to have the easiest schedule. They've had the easiest schedule to date and have the best way to go the rest of the season.
To the 16-yard line, and tonight's Visa players of the game for Georgia. Randall Godfrey, 7 tackles, 1 for a loss. And for the Florida Gators, the man who really broke this thing open, Chris Dorian, 5 receptions, 2 touchdowns. And as a part of their continuing effort to further the development of amateur athletics, Visa is proud to donate $1,000 to each of these universities and $1,000 to the U.S. Olympic team on behalf of these athletes. Tyrone Baker on the draw, and he'll have a couple.
And here's where I would think Steve Spurrier would just run the football here and not try to get in the end zone.
Yep, the voters will be naming either Penn State or Nebraska number 1.
Got to keep Auburn in there too. I mean, in the AP poll now, Auburn's accomplished an awful lot, and they're still alive in that thing. Alabama, don't forget about them. They're undefeated. They're way back a little bit because they haven't beaten anybody badly, and but they're still undefeated.
Baker's going to go back and pick it up. That was an incomplete pass. The Residence Inn College Football Scoreboard is coming up next here on ESPN as we have 21 ticks left on the clock.
I'll be shocked if this isn't a run. Now, if this is a pass now, this has gone too far. Now, this has got to be a run right here. And I think it is. Here's Bobby Pruitt, defensive coordinator, getting a shake.
You know, Mike, I also want to say, I kind of joked about it a while ago as we had 21 ticks left on the clock. Our tech people tonight, you were not here, so you don't know exactly how severely this place was hit. And I mean, to our technicians, our cameramen, everybody that works on the crew, it's why they're the very best in the country. As Baker breaks it open at the 10, at the 5, not going to get into the end zone. 10 seconds and down to 9. Anyway, to our crew, guys, we say thank you. What a tremendous job tonight. 9 seconds left.
And meet us at the truck for a lot of tea, a lot of hot tea. And let the clock
let it go down. So once again, our final score from Ben Griffith Hill Stadium in Gainesville, Florida, is the Florida Gators 52 and Georgia 14. For Mike Gottfried and Mike Adamley, this is Ron Franklin saying so long from Gainesville, Florida. And let's throw it to Mike Tirico. Mike.
Okay, Ron, thank you very much. So a very impressive showing for the Gators as they bounce back by beating Georgia. And Florida looks like they're on the inside track in their division of the SEC to get to the SEC title game in Atlanta the first Saturday in December. If you're a college football fan, if you have a friend that's a college football fan, call them. Hang out for the next hour, because on the Resident Inn scoreboard, we're going to put a great day in perspective and really set it up for the last month of the regular season, which we'll get going in a little bit. Chris, Craig, and the coach are in Lincoln. We'll get back down to the Swamp, some post-game reaction, and we'll hear what some of the people involved think their right is to be number 1. All that as we work towards Sports Center at 11:30 Eastern. Our final score in the SEC, the Gators beat the Dogs.
With 132 frisky horses under its hood, the 4-door Plymouth Neon is one pretty fast car. In fact, it's so fast, it just blew 2 of its own doors off. Say hello to the brand spanking new Plymouth Neon Sport Coupe. Performance suspension, ABS, and a cool new look.
Yeah, golf. Football. Golf. No. Football.
Let's watch both.
Miller Lite presents Full Contact Golf.
Yeah!
We're still on the first hole, Bob, and this is Davis teeing it up. Here's the drive. It is blocked. Brought to you by Miller Lite. If you can combine great taste and less filling, you can combine anything. Oh, he's got daylight going for the green. Here's the putt. There's the blitz. Yeah!
Oh, good beer.
Great taste, less filling. Can your beer do this?
Sports writers. Ever wonder how they pick football's national champion? It's a highly scientific process. It's time to settle it on the field. Introducing college football's national championship by Sega Sports. 32 top college teams going head-to-head. No sports riders, just great football action. College football's national championship, only on Sega Genesis.
They speak it in England, France, and Germany. It sounds the same in the U.S. and Mexico as it does in Hong Kong and Tokyo. It's the international language of business. And wherever it's spoken, Delta Airlines can put you right in the middle of the conversation. And then we'll bring you back to that place where you don't have to say a word to be understood. Delta Airlines.
I just don't understand. I don't have any trouble putting heavyweights to sleep. But there's one lightweight I can never get to go down.
Time for bed.
No.
Bed?
No.
Let's go to bed.
No.
Please.
No.
Come on.
No.
Watch Michael Moore defend his heavyweight championship against George Foreman live. Only on HBO.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mike Tirico, along with Chris Fowler, Lee Corso, Craig James, and Bino Cook. Welcome to the Residence Inn College Football Scoreboard. We're with you until SportsCenter at 11:30, and we'll put the day in perspective and get some of the early thoughts on what's going to happen on a day when 21 of the top 25 played, and of those 21 that played, only 12 won their games. Here is some of what happened, starting with the big game setup, Colorado and Nebraska. You know, Nebraska's played in some big games against top 5 teams, but had lost the last 12. The Buffs come into Lincoln for the 200th consecutive sellout in Memorial Stadium. The black shirt defense for the Cape Crusaders on this one. Nebraska's defense was great. The offense was solid as well. Corey Schlesinger, the fullback, a 14-yard rumble, 7-0 for Tom Osborne's team. The offense mixed it up. Brooke Behringer, the quarterback. Eric Alford, the tight end, who was a factor, 15 yards. On the same drive, the shovel pass to Abdul Muhammad. Well-designed play, and Muhammad works between the Buff defenders, gets it down to the 1. Clinton Childs punched it in, 17-0, and Cordell Stewart couldn't get on track with Colorado's offense. See here, 3rd and 4 for the Buffs. Looking deep for Michael Westbrook, but Tyrone Williams, part of the good Nebraska secondary, turns it away. You want a final nail in the coffin? How about Behringer on play action for Eric Alford, the tight end, one more time. A 30-yard score. 24-0 Huskers at that point. Colorado had to try to come back with several 3rd and longs and 4th down opportunities. But the Nebraska defense, pressure on the quarterback, good coverage by the secondary. A long day for Colorado as Nebraska, for the 26th straight season, gets to 9 wins. Finally beats a top 5 team, and Brooks' numbers very impressive as the Huskers hand the Buffs a first conference loss. Next week, Nebraska will take on Kansas. Colorado tries to bounce back against the Cowboys. The difference in this one, Brooks' stats and the 3rd down story. 0 for 15 on 3rd and 4th down for Colorado. Nebraska converting 7 of its 17 opportunities. Penn State, they have a claim for #1 after handing John Cooper's team very difficult day in State College. Keyjana Carter, a huge day in the first quarter. 20 yards, good blocking by the receivers too. 7-0 Penn State. Now it's 14-0, and Bobby Ingram threw a nice block, make a nice catch. 21-0. Kerry Collins only missed 4 passes on the day. It's 28-0, and Mike Archie hangs on after the high and hard hit. 35-0 at the halftime. The only thing that the Lions stumbled on were, well, TV cables on the way into the locker room at halftime. Penn State makes a very loud and clear statement as they win by 49 over Ohio State in this one. See what they're doing next week. Ohio State is a very important game against Wisconsin. We'll show you what the Badgers did in a little bit. First, what about Ki-Jana Carter's day? He spoke with Pam Oliver after the game.
All right, thanks a lot, Ki-Jana. First of all, you surprised at how easily you were able to handle this team today?
We knew that coming in that we was going to be in for a tough game, but we knew that we were a good quality team, and we knew that we stick to our ball game, that we will at least do well against them. But I don't think we expect we was going to win this big.
How much were you paying attention to the developments in the Nebraska-Colorado game?
Not really. They were saying the scores about it, but we knew we got to take care of our business. We got to be focused. If we keep on winning, and doing well, hopefully, the poll people will be voting for us. But if not, hey, we're going to win every game.
Nebraska players said after the game they deserve to be #1 after beating Colorado. What are your thoughts?
I guess that's their thoughts. The way we won today, I guess that should impress the poll people, at least too. So, I really don't know. We're just going to go out there, try to win every game, and then we'll just worry about that January 3rd.
Quickly about your 4 touchdowns today, a career record for you.
I feel good, and I give a lot of credit to our line. They really don't get a lot of credit, and all of my holes and stuff, they're good blocking by our fullback, our receivers, and everything. And I just took advantage of it.
Congratulations. Good luck the rest of the way. All right, let's go back to the studio.
Pam, thank you very much. The difference in this game was the very dominant first half. Some teams don't run 20 plays in a half. Penn State had 20 first downs, 275 more total yards. Clear domination of the Buckeyes in the first half and the game. So now Penn State up 2 in the Big Ten Rose Bowl race. As for the Pac-10 side, well, Oregon made a big statement in Eugene, down 9-3 against Arizona. Danny O'Neal to Josh Wilcox, a 15-yard score. Oh, they're going crazy. It's 10-9 Ducks. And then the defense. We talk about the Desert Swarm and the Palouse Posse. What about gangrene for Oregon? Lamar Lovett on the incompletion there. Then Chad Cota breaks one up. Danny White, the quarterback, looking downfield for Lovett again. Same result. The Oregon defense. 4th down, Dick Tomey needs a miracle. It's White looking for Kerry Taylor, but Alex Molden, who was there on 1st and 3rd down, had the coverage on 4th down as well. And Oregon. Interesting comment after the game from their receiver who caught the touchdown. He said, "We're all young, we're a little nuts, but it's cool." Yeah, it is very cool in Eugene as Oregon gets the win, and they have the easiest schedule of the remaining teams in the Pac-10 Rose Bowl race. Auburn had a scare. Undefeated Terry's Tigers are looking for 19 straight. They're down 14-10 to Arkansas in the 4th, but Stephen Davis begins. A 1-yard plunge at 17-14 Auburn. Next possession, pitch to the right. Davis to the end zone. 24 yards. Good downfield blocking by Frankie Sanders. 24-14. Later in the 4th, Davis puts an exclamation point on a career best day. Oh, what a block. 53 yards. Untouched by human hand on both of those runs. 3 touchdowns for Davis. And Auburn survives, winning 31-14. They have now won 19 straight. Patrick Nix made a big mistake in the first half, throwing an interception, but the defense really came strong in the second half against the Hogs. And you see next week Auburn takes on East Carolina, homecoming at Jordan-Hare. We talked about Stephen Davis averaging 9 a carry and 3 touchdowns for 246 yards, his career best day. In the Southwest Conference, Texas A&M came in unbeaten in the Alamo Dome against SMU. Rodney Thomas takes the handoff, 35 yards. This is 3rd touchdown of the game, 21-19 in the 4th. Down 2, they're going for 2 for the tie. Corey Pullock to Brian Mitchell. Wide open in the end zone. Both.
Mike Tirico.
They have the ball off to the running back, Eli Williams, up the middle. He's inside the 15. He's inside the 10. He's inside the 5. It's 1st and goal as he's down to the 3-yard line.
It was a great accomplishment for the seniors. We've never lost to Georgia. That's 5 in a row. They came in here pre-games. We're doing our Gator chomp. Everyone was doing it, and that just fired us up even more.
Welcome to Florida Football with Steve Spurrier. Your host,
Mick Hubert and head coach of the Fighting Gators, Steve Spurrier.
Hi again, everybody, and thanks for tuning us in. I'm Mick Hubert, along with head coach Steve Spurrier, welcoming you to Florida Football Highlights. It had been since 1931 that Georgia visited Florida, and the Gators sent them back to Athens with a 52-14 defeat. Widest victory margin in the series for Florida. And Steve, the most points that Georgia has allowed since 1931. And congratulations to you on your 100th career coaching victory.
Thank you, Mick. I didn't realize I'd had 99 until earlier in the week. Norm Carlson put it in his little information sheet, so it was certainly special as a head coach. And, of course, my first 35 was down with the Tampa Bay Bandits. Ironically, we had the same colors just about as Georgia, black, red, and silver. But the reason we were able to beat Georgia so convincingly was because of our defensive scores. We had 3 defensive scores, first time in the history of the University of Florida. Michael Gilmore, James Bates, and Darren Hambrick. And, of course, Ben Hanks caused that first fumble that Michael picked up and went the distance. So that was the big story of the game, was how well our defensive guys played. Coach Bobby Pruitt and the defensive staff had an excellent plan to slow down Eric Zier. And our defensive line had the consistent pressure the whole night. And we let them hit a few, or we didn't let them, but we conceded a few short passes trying to prevent the big ones, and then we got the turnovers that enabled us to win it pretty easily.
First time in Eric Zier's career that he's intercepted 4 times. And on the other side, Danny Werfel, very sharp early when the Gators needed that early momentum, building a 17-0 lead.
All right, Mick. I think we had 14 points, and Zier had only had the ball 3 plays. So certainly the first 2 drives by our offensive team were very good, and Danny threw the ball where he was supposed to. Our receivers caught everything in sight. Chris Doring had an excellent game, especially there in the first half and so forth. We messed up 1 or 2 little plays down around the goal line late, but we also executed a lot of plays, and we made 26 first downs. We were on the field over 37 minutes of the game. So proud of the offense, the defense, special team. Coach Zook's guys were near perfect again, and just a good night for all Gators.
And Florida beats Georgia 52-14 in the Swamp. And we'll come back and take a look at the exciting highlights when we continue in just a moment. Perhaps the toughest ticket ever, Steve, 85,604 in the Swamp last night.
Certainly our crowd made a difference in the game, Mick. Georgia got some early penalties because of the crowd noise, and the inspiration and everything our crowd gives us is a big reason for our success at home. And again, a special thanks to our fans last night.
And they hung in there during that driving rainstorm, too. This game was delayed 10 minutes at the start because of severe weather, and here's the way it began.
Right, we open up with an excellent kickoff return here. Jackson takes it at the goal line, hits a nice little hole here, and we're up to the 40-yard line. As you can see, Jack ran over a guy there at the end. The Swamp was sort of rainy, sort of misty. Here's the second play of the game. Sean Nunn made a beautiful catch over the middle. Danny audible to that play. Saw an opening and had confidence. Sean, go down in there and get it, and that's exactly what happened. Here's our little quick rollout hitch. Jack takes it, and we got a 3rd and 1. We threw on 3rd and 1. Danny just barely overthrew Jack on a potential big play, but we came back and made the 4th and 1. Here's just an unbelievable catch by Eli Williams. Eli is excellent coming out of the backfield catching the ball. We really missed him the one game he was hurt. But and there's Chris Doring getting his 1 foot down for the touchdown. Nice throw from Danny, an excellent route by Chris.
9 plays, 60 yards, and an early 7-0 Gator lead.
Right. We were able to mix up our plays there, a lot of runs, and certainly the passes also. We didn't run quite as well as we really thought we may against Georgia. They were tough. They played hard up front, but eventually we were able to get some good running yards.
Cirola Palmer was questionable, but had a good game.
Cirola slightly pulled his hamstring earlier in the week, but got it well. Did a good job of going in for rehab with Mike Wasick, our trainer, and Chris Patrick. And those guys do a super job getting our players that have been hurt ready to play. Here's Chris Filkey on a little fullback in the flat play. Danny throws it to him nicely. This was another nice drive. I think we had 14 points, and Eric Zier had only touched it 3 times. So we got the quick early lead and went from there. It was a low ball that Chris did a super job getting down on the ground for. Just like Coach Dwayne Dixon teaches those receivers, get down low, eye level with it if you can. Here's Ike Hilliard, one of his 2 catches, I think, and gets us down there for a first down. And here's Chris's second touchdown. As you can see, we caught him in the right coverage. And he runs a nice route. Danny throws it right there. And it gets us up 14-0 early in the first quarter.
That was 69 yards in 9 plays. Now here's Georgia working.
Right, they hit this little hitch pass several times during the night. But the big thing, of course, we wanted to do was not give up the big one. I think they hit one downfield all night, and that was it. And then try to get some interceptions and some strip the ball, get some fumbles, which is what Ben Hanks did to allow Michael Gilmore to pick it up and go score.
And so we move to the second quarter. The Gators in command, and here's Langley back to punt again.
Right. Sorolla made some nice returns here, and it was well blocked. There's Darren Hamrick in there. And
that was a 20-yard return.
20-yard return. Sammy McCorkle, special team player. Here's a little reverse to Jack. Dean finally comes back and picks off the linebacker there and makes a 9-yard run. And here's Chris over. Nope, here's, I think, a little scramble play. Hits Ike Hilliard over here. And Ike gets us down to about the 25. That drive stalled, I think, on the 2 or 3 yard line. And Judd Davis remained perfect on field goals. I think we'll see here in a moment. Yeah, there's Chris right there getting down to the 11. Or maybe that was on the 6. And then here comes Judd Davis.
This would be a 19-yard field goal to give the Gators a 17-0 lead. 9:55 to play in the second quarter.
I tell you, sometimes we take Judd for granted, Mick, but certainly he's been perfect against Georgia the last 2 years. He made all 4 field goal attempts last year on the wet, soggy Gator Bowl turf, and he made everything last night.
This would be an 83-yard 9-play drive for Georgia.
Well, right, and here was Michael just couldn't quite hold on. Good effort. This drive was aided by a roughing the passer call, Mick. I'm a little hoarse this morning. I'm sure our fans, not from yelling at our players, but from yelling at the dadgum referees, but I don't know, it doesn't do any good. It seems like they came just really throwing a lot of flags last night. Georgia had 10 penalties, we had 12. And here's the play here by Ben Hanks. Just an excellent play to strip the ball out and also to hold on to the guy that he tackled. So Michael could pick it up and go in for the score. That was a big play in the game. It's 17-7 at this time. And as you can see, Ben rips it out and he holds on to the Georgia player. So Michael could scoop it up and go. And he's got Anthone leading him. He's got Michael Mudd Harris behind him there, number 13. Got his first start ever as a Gator. And here comes Darren Hamrick. He's looking for a lateral. But Michael says, I'm going to take this one in myself.
Well, it is a 24-7 lead, but good things were still yet to come in the end of this first half.
Well, right. There was 1:35 left in the half, and they got an intentional roughing penalty. One of their players cut Ellis in the back of the legs. I thought he should have been ejected, but they left him in the game, so we kicked it through the end zone. But here's Darren Hamrick's play. As you can see, this was a thing of beauty. They had him hemmed in on the sideline, 3 players. As you can see, he avoids about 5 tackles getting going here. But the move was the one right here on the sideline. They had 3 players, had him hemmed up. And watch this little stutter. And then go back outside. As you can see, their big lineman ended up blocking some of the other guys for him. And he tight-roped the sideline and took it in. Just unbelievable play.
Former high school running back. There he is with the Pizza Hut delivery of the game.
Right. We've been talking to Darren for about 2 or 3 weeks about making some plays, make something happen out there. And he was ready last night, and hopefully that'll be a start of a lot of big plays. He's certainly capable of doing these kind of things all the time here. That looked like it was Darren's man there, but he should have had some help deep. We didn't quite get the safety over there, and they run the quarterback draw in for a touchdown.
31-14, 12:23 to play, third quarter.
Right, here's Keith Council knocking the ball down. Keith's going to be a fine defensive tackle for us. Come a long way, a redshirt freshman from down in Orlando. And really nice seeing him in there. He and Mike Moten are 2 good ones that'll be out there next year. Here's Ellis getting his sack. I think we only got Zaire once or twice. And The other one was called back because of a face mask penalty. Here's James Bates getting his second interception, and he lunges into the end zone there, rolls over, and I guarantee you he's a happy Gator. His dad, who's the defensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons and was our coordinator in 1990, was here for the game. And we had some happy Bateses after the game, that was for sure.
A 38-14 lead with 4:24 to go, third quarter. Here's more Gator defensive pressure.
Right. Here was the sack that they said we grabbed his face mask a little bit. So that one didn't count. But Cameron Davis was in there. He played extremely well, as did Anthony Riggins. His Dexter Daniels getting that interception. As you can see, what Coach Pruitt wanted to do was have a little robber guy in the middle of the field. We rush three a lot. I know our fans don't like to see us do that. They think it's a prevent defense, but really, if you're not going to get there, you might as well use your players in coverage. And when they're in that shotgun, it's hard to get them before they throw it. So we felt like we'd use that guy in coverage, which really worked out. Here's Eli leaning the ball in the end zone. Unbelievable nice play by Eli to get that score. Really, they had us outflanked, but he made a run for the corner and leaned the ball in for the touchdown.
This was 4th and 2, and they don't make it.
Right. Obviously, Georgia's wish they could run the ball a little bit better than they can, and I think that's something that's really hurt them during this game, not having the ability to run. It's hard to get back there in that shotgun and throw it 50, 60 times and still win games. Here's Fred Taylor off tackle. Fred again, this was sort of his drive. Chris Brown doing some nice blocking out front there. And
second reception of the night for Sean Nunn.
Yeah, Danny found him late. He was blocking and got off his block. A little delay route there for the first down. And here's Jack on a little sweep around the right end. Gets us down very close, and then here's the sweep play. Fred Taylor, ooh, we lost a man there, but Fred said, just step aside, let me run in the end zone, and that's what he ended up doing right here.
Taylor made, that was the longest drive of the night, 5 minutes and 42 seconds. Gators really owned the ball the fourth quarter.
Well, we were very fortunate again on our third downs, Nick. As we'll see later, we made 10 out of 16. Georgia was only 2 of 11. And certainly that's a big down in the game. And we've been very fortunate this year to make about 60% of our third downs. Lawrence Wright in there for a tackle. We had Lawrence up a little closer to the line in this game, and as you can see him right there playing sort of an inside linebacker, and he's excellent there. He's a big, strong young man, and I think maybe up closer to the line ultimately might be a position that he's very comfortable with. Here's Terry Dean in the game. Beautiful throw to Riedel Anthony. Got Riedel and Ike, our 2 freshmen in there, and nice to see Terry come in, drive us right down the field. Here's Tyrone Baker. He made some beautiful runs. He gets hit there and goes on up for the first down. I think here's the last play of the game. We basically just running the clock out, and Tyrone almost scored another touchdown here.
So the game ends with the Gators at the Georgia 1-yard line. Florida had the ball for the final 6 minutes and 39 seconds of the game. And inside the numbers, a big advantage for Florida.
Well, as you can see, the time of possession is something we wanted to have the most of, and 10 of 16 third downs, and the turnovers. The turnover yardage was the reason we were able to run up 52 points.
So the Gators defeat Georgia for the 5th consecutive time, a 52-14 Florida victory. We'll come right back with more of our show after this timeout. Ever since he arrived from Tallahassee, Kevin Carter has been a fixture at defensive end for the Gators. He's not only been a standout on the field, but in the classroom, as we see in this Gator profile.
When I was younger, growing up in Tallahassee, my dentist had a really good influence on my life. I really looked up to him, and I thought that he had a good occupation, and I really liked stuff in the medical field. I liked, what he did. And when I got to high school and looking towards college, I had to select a university that had a good combination of football and a good combination of academics, and so I had to go somewhere that offered the kind of programs that I would need to go into what I wanted to do. Guys like myself, Jack Jackson, Ellis Johnson, Mark Campbell, we've done a lot of work. I want to see kids at the hospital, and I mean, seeing kids like that and they really look up to you, kind of stuff, really enriches our lives in a lot of ways. Well, since I've been here, I've had the opportunity to be involved at organizations like Athletes in Action, FCA, and Campus Crusade for Christ. And fortunately for me, I've had a chance to do a lot of speaking to like children, different youth groups, and a lot of churches around the area. So something I'm really looking forward to down the road is possibly having a chance to speak to national camps and stuff through Christian organizations. It really interests me. When I was younger, I wasn't much of an athlete. I was more into school, and I like to read a lot, and I didn't really do a lot of things that really were like related to like football. I mean, I played baseball, but I wasn't really that good of an athlete. I was, short, and I was fat, and I really wasn't that athletic when I was a kid. So around 6th grade, I guess I got into band, and something I really enjoyed. And I mean, I bought my first sax around I guess my 8th grade year. I remember when I was in like 5th grade. There was a guy that came out to our school, and he brought all kind of instruments and stuff, and he was playing them, and I really liked the sound of saxophone. I mean, it really appealed to me.
Yeah, he can play, can't he? Well-rounded young man, Kevin Carter.
I tell you what, Mick, Friday morning, before the game, he spoke at Oak Hall High School. They have a group, Students Against Drunk Drivers, that they were starting, and they needed a speaker, and Kevin volunteered to go out there and speak to them, and from what I heard, did another outstanding job. But he's certainly an excellent example of the student athlete. Just a wonderful young man to coach. We're going to miss him when he leaves here, but like he said, I think he's been enriched, and he's enriched the University of Florida by coming here. So we wish Kevin the best. He's got a chance to be a first-round NFL pick, according to the scouts also, Mick.
We'll come right back and take you inside the highlight zone when our show continues in just a moment. Chris Doering, Darren Hambrick, and James Bates all playing starring roles in this week's edition of the Highlight Zone.
2nd and 12 for the Gators at the Georgia 25 from the right hash. Where fullback to throw, looking and firing a corner for Doering. He's open. He's got a touchdown. Quarantined. Give him 6.
We'll definitely never have a chance to play Georgia again here, and to beat them the way we did tonight was a great feeling. And for me personally, I've always dreamed of having a big day against Georgia, and I'm just happy that I got to do it here in front of our fans.
Zire in the shotgun, steps up, now throws and fires. The ball is tipped. It's intercepted. Darren Hambrick, a tip ball and a catch at the 25. Hambrick still on his feet to the 30. He's coming to the near sideline, the 35. He's to the 40. He's to the 50. He's in Georgia territory. He's to the 35, the 30. Still on his feet. He's down the sideline. He's going to score. Oh, my!
I was just trying to break loose and get some daylight. There was a lot of players around me. Once I hit the sideline, I went to running. I seen the end zone, but, I wasn't there yet. And I had about 4 other players in front of me. And I just made a good move, and I just hurdled the last dude.
Georgia now has 2nd down, and the line to make for a first down is the 24. Back from the 4-yard line. Zire takes the snap and throws the ball in traffic, and it's intercepted. Picked off again, and it's going to be James Bates again. He'll score a touchdown. Oh, my!
Exciting. We got a lot of guys on the team who, know they can make big plays, and, that makes it a lot more fun. And, we got a lot of guys who like to have fun, and just, it was a great time. It was a fun time out there tonight.
3 defensive scores, first time ever in Gator history.
Right, Mick, and obviously that's the reason we got so many points, but I liked what James said. We had a lot more fun out there than we did the last game. Some games you can get 2 up for opponents, and I liked our attitude coming in last night, and I think that'll carry us throughout the year. You want to be up and ready to play, but not 2 up also.
6-1, now 5-1, in great shape in the SEC Eastern Division. Step outside for a non-conference game, but a big one, homecoming, Southern Mississippi.
Mick, certainly the week of homecoming is one of the favorite of the year for all Gators. Starting with pep rallies Tuesday night, and then the parade Friday, the Gator Gallop. I understand you and I are going to run in that again. Friday about 11 o'clock, and then, of course, the parade that our seniors have a chance to ride a float, and then introduce the seniors at Gator Growl that night, and then, of course, the game. So it's a big weekend. We're looking forward to it, and all of our players also. We are in good shape in the Eastern Division, but we still need to beat South Carolina the next game to officially clinch it. We don't have it clinched yet, but we're in good shape as long as we do what we should be doing.
Steve, again, congratulations on the 52-14 Florida victory over Georgia. That's our show for this week. Highlights of Southern Miss and homecoming next week. For Coach Steve Spurrier, I'm Mick Hubert. So long, everybody.
National Car, the official car rental agency of the Florida Gators.
I hope you've enjoyed today's show. I'd like to thank all of our wonderful sponsors who have made this possible. Dairy Farmers Incorporated, Great Southern Wood, First Union, Bryan Foods. Join me the next time for Florida football.